Well, I'm alone with my thoughts. Carly's not here. Hello, 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 hello. How very strange. I wonder what I'm thinking about. Ooh, how do they get that sugar coating on M&Ms to be so smooth? I mean, it's a liquid when they put it on. How does it dry without a flat spot? And how come when a giraffe drinks and it puts its head down from being way up there to way down there, how come its brains don't explode from the blood pressure? I wonder if they reused the tomb of Christ, after Jesus was raised from the dead. And did they, take extra precautions just to make sure that didn't happen again? Or were they like, hey, lucky tomb, maybe we'll see you again? So many questions. It is weird in here, being alone with my thoughts. Kind of echoey. Kind of strange. Kind of scary, actually. In fact, I'm kind of freaking out here. Carly, help me. I'm alone with my thoughts. Help me, Carly, help me.
Carly can't come to the phone right now.
But Carly needs to come to the phone right now. I was alone with my thoughts. You abandoned me. How could you do that to me?
Give you all your money.
Why? Okay. You've been in Melbourne too long. You have been in Melbourne too long. Put the knife down and go to Noosa immediately.
If you can't beat him, join him.
Okay, seriously, what is going? Okay, I am repping the podcast. I've got the merch going on. You look like you're ready to stab somebody.
Well, I took the dog for the walk, and then I realised I was dressed like an Eshe, so I was like, when in Rome?
It is a good thing you've already booked your ticket out of here. This place is rubbing off on you a little too much.
Oh, it's funny. I'm actually very hot. I do look like an Eshe. It was totally unintentional.
Yeah.
Do you know what the thing that most perturbs me about youth crime is the fact that they've made Nike Tech Fleece unwearable. I can't wear the Tech Fleece anymore.
Okay.
Because I loved it and I own quite a few of these jumpers, but now I look like a youth criminal.
So someone who I know who's a cop was telling me that the very fashionable brand right now amongst all these sort of stabby types is a thing called Hoodrich.
Yeah, it's called Bape, one of the big brands. What have I done to this microphone? I got told off for using the microphone too much last week. You're not in focus, sir.
Oh. Well, hang on. But that's... Okay, so the camera was doing something weird the other week. You remember I said the back focus was out? I reckon it's that.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
I'm in focus. Because
Well, yeah. I mean, I've just got the soft filter. It's just making me more beautiful. I mean, look, I look like you right now. That's amazing.
Hang on. I don't know. Which one are you? You're there.
That is really bad, isn't it? No, I swear it was in focus a second ago.
Hang on a minute. You entertain the folks on the why.
Really? Do I have to be the cool one, the fun one? The one with something to say? You know me. I don't have stuff to say. You can't just leave me in the lurch like this and just tell me to talk.
Tell everyone your monologue about good news, your bloody technology working.
Well, no, that's not my good news. I got some other good news for when you finally do actually get back here and decide to do some work for a change.
Did that work?
I don't know. You switch it to the other camera and we'll find out. Oh, there we go. There we go. Carly did a thing.
I'm just...
Actually, you're right. I should never have let you touch that. Given your current record on technology, I should never... Let me tell you... Okay, so here was my technology thing. I'm sitting in the back of the car. Are we back to auto or are we just going to sit on me for a monologue forever? There we go. We're back to auto. I was sitting in the back of the car, traveling along at 110 kilometres an hour. I promise you it wasn't any faster. It was exactly 110 kilometres an hour. Being driven by my sister this week, thankfully, because she's just a much smoother driver than other people who drive me that will remain nameless because they might actually hear the podcast at some point in time. And I was being driven by her.
Is this your dad?
Maybe. And I'm working on a laptop in the back seat, tethered to my phone, downloading a podcast that I did 2 years ago while I was in America from YouTube and giving instructions to my editing team in the Philippines whilst paying bills and doing other things, logged into my bank. And just thinking, I'm in a level of comfort that kings would have been envious of 150 years ago, sitting in the back of this car as it just cruises along. And it's not a fancy car. I mean, it's a nice enough car, but it's not a fancy car. It's not one that you'd be like, ooh la la. But sitting in the back seat with the front seat pushed all the way forward. I've got a bit of leg room. I'm comfortable. There's air conditioning. And just thinking, my goodness, this is this is tantamount to magic. I mean, any technology once sufficiently advanced, I can't remember who said this, but any technology once sufficiently advanced becomes indistinguishable from magic. And it really is. I mean, it's just magic. How are you going with technology, Carly?
Where's that knife?
Are you having a slightly different experience?
Look, I've had a 24 hours, can I tell you? And if it wasn't
I don't think I can stop you from telling me.
if it wasn't for my better half, there'd be a lot of broken things in this house right now. So
Right.
yesterday I was in the middle of working and all of a sudden the internet died. And I,
Right.
oh shit, what's happened? And I just I've got all the cables under my feet. I thought, I've kicked something, get down on my hands and knees, looking around. No, everything's fine. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh shit, maybe I'll go upstairs, check the modem, restart the modem. Yep, no, nothing. I'm like, And then all of a sudden I get this message saying that your account's been deactivated. And I was like,
Oh.
that's weird.
Have you been paying your bills?
Well, that's the first thing I did. I was like, hey, babe, haven't paid a bill. We've been disconnected. And I was like, I can pay it. And he's like, oh, hang on, I've got direct debit. That's weird. So then he's been with iPrimus for years and years, like 15 years. And he's like, no, they're really good. And because I had internet in my old house, and he was like, no, we use mine. I'm like, all right, cool. And he's on the phone. I'm like, babe, what's going on with the internet? I'm like, I'm trying to do work. He's like, I'm still on hold. Half an hour later, I'm like, me being impatient. Babe, how you going? He's like, I'm still on hold. It's been an hour. And so at this point, I'm like, oh, fuck. And the house that we're in, for whatever reason, we have really bad reception. So I can't hotspot. I've only got maybe like one bar at any given time.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Because, it's 2025 and the internet still doesn't work well.
Yeah. No, that's good because the government got involved. But yeah.
Anyway, so G calls me back about half an hour later. He's like, look, I've swapped this to a totally new internet provider.
Right.
I'm like, okay, whatever. We're going to get internet? And he's like, he tells me the story. So he's with iPrimus, and normally you just go onto the app and pay, as you need or, it's direct debit.
Yep.
And something's been happening. I don't know because I've been trying to look up. If you guys know, put it in the comments. It looks like they're going under because no one's answering their phones.
Ooh.
All of a sudden, there's all these 1-star reviews all over like product review websites. Everyone's saying the same thing. I've got a direct debit. My internet's been cut off. I can't access anything. I don't know what's going on. I can't call anyone.
That's generally considered bad, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. And so
not a good sign.
Anyway, good news is G had through where his business is, they, a few years ago now, maybe 5-6 years ago, they had a guy that came past and was like, hey, we're from Mint Telecom.
Yeah.
Do you want to try? And they did. And they've had great times. So G got on the phone to them and he's like, fuck, what am I going to do? And they're a Aussie, I don't think they're a startup, but they're an Aussie, they're nowhere near as big as Telstra.
Yeah.
And G called them, and within a second, he was answered by an Australian. Hello, welcome to Mint Telecom. And he's like, hi, I need internet. They're like, no worries, we'll do it right now.
Yeah.
And so he's having this grand old time chatting to an Australian person, getting the internet all sorted.
Yeah.
And he calls me back. He's like, we've got internet. What? And so it was so taken aback by the fact that an Australian answered.
Yeah.
And they were like, let me solve your problem.
Yeah.
To the point where we are such beaten dogs that when you get like the bare minimum service, you're just
basic
like,
service.
holy shit.
Now, can I give a shout out? So Mint I haven't dealt with, but it sounds fantastic and worth looking into for anyone that's looking. I want to give a shout out to Aussie Broadband. I switched to them after having some really bad experiences with a couple of other companies. And again, Aussie based. Aussies answer the phone.
Yeah.
They stay on the phone with you until your problem is solved.
Yeah.
If you call and there is a queue, which often there isn't, but if there is a queue, they say, hey, listen, press this button and we'll call you back. And then guess what?
They actually
call you back.
Yeah, wow.
And they fix your problem. Now, we got involved with them when we moved, we needed fibre to the premises. And so I signed a 3-year commercial grade contract with them because it meant that the taxpayer, thank you NBN, were going to pay for the $19,000 fibre optics install. And I didn't have to pay for that myself. And that contract will expire in less than a year's time now. And I'll switch to a domestic plan to save a bunch of money, but I'll stay with Aussie. My experience with them has been nothing but fantastic. And if Mint are the same, if that's the same sort of idea, then fantastic.
Well, this is them. So guys, if you're looking for an internet service provider, this is not sponsored, obviously. It's just literally shouting out someone that gave us good service. And if you go read all of their product reviews, everyone's like, holy shit, this is great.
It's so astonishing. Yeah, check out Mint, check out Aussie.
Yeah.
Stop putting up with crap internet. advertisement from crap providers. And no, we do not have a financial relationship with any of these companies.
No, but on the spirit
But we'd like to.
Yeah,
Guys, get in touch.
Mint, if you'd like us,
Aussie, you two outbid each other. Go on, let's see who makes the best offer.
We'll accept all offers above 10,000.
What do you mean we're grifters? We're not grifters.
So that being said, I thought I'd introduce a new segment to the podcast.
Ooh, okay.
Right? And it's going to be like a small biz shout out.
Because 3 hours isn't long enough. We've got to go more.
Well, no, we've got to get more
Oh, okay.
And if you would stop interrupting me, everyone accuses me of interrupting you. Has anyone listened to this freaking podcast?
What I love is that I interrupt you and then you apologise to me. It's the funniest thing. And I'm not
polite.
I'm not trying to interrupt. What I'm trying to do is contribute to the conversation before you've moved on. Right, so I'm trying
to cut me off.
Well, I'm trying to make it a timely back and forth because if you move on too far, then I'm dragging the conversation back too far in order to put in whatever it was that I wanted to contribute. So I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to have the back and forth. But I'll interrupt you. I'm still interrupting you, right?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be rude, but I am interrupting you. And then you're like, oh, sorry, like, Carly.
I'm a polite
that was
individual.
Me. I did that to you.
Yeah. I was raised with manners. Anyway, back to my segment. This is a shout out. So I think I briefly touched on this on Monday night's episode.
Right.
So you would be familiar with the fact that we can't drink Melbourne drinking water at the moment.
You did mention, yes.
Yeah,
I did bring a very large supply with me down from the non-contaminated part of the world.
Well, no, you're fine to drink what we have here because thanks to a gorgeous friend of mine, Loz James, who I'm going to shout out in a second, you can now drink Melbourne's water. So this is the article that went up. Firstly, can we just, speaking of grifting.
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever go onto these news sites?
Isn't it nuts?
Like
I'm not allowed to sell a book. We're not allowed to have merch T-shirts, but these guys can just plaster your eyeballs with ads.
You've got a
every
skin
direction.
on the outside. You've got ads ads. You've got an ad here. This is an ad. There's an ad here. Oh, you can't see it because I'm on the screen.
Yeah.
It's just overstimulation. It's so much going on. And then here's another ad. Yeah. Here's more ads on the side.
Yep.
I'm like, I just want to read the article.
Yeah, but where the grift is.
Yeah. So essentially, this is the little map of the area that you can't drink the water. It's down Frankston area.
Who cares?
So Southeast Water have confirmed that tap water is safe to drink after 1,200 households in Frankston South were warned to switch to bottled water or boil their tap water before drinking due to a drop in pressure. Now, this isn't the first time it's happened. I had someone speak to me the other day about in Elwood, their water smells like sulphur at the moment. And there's also been other issues where there's been high, contamination.
Yeah.
So, guys, and as someone who has tried quite a lot of filters, I want to introduce you to a company called Hydronation. Now, we're not being paid for this. This is a friend of mine. It's a startup.
So there is a personal relationship. Full disclosure, there's a personal relationship there, but there's no financial relationship.
Yeah.
Right.
So you guys might be familiar with Loz James. Actually, if I go to the homepage, you might know her face. So Loz James did a lot of videos during COVID as well. So she's one of us. And she happens to be a babe.
Yep.
I took that photo.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
So Loz did a couple of those really big videos during COVID. So you guys might be familiar with her. But
sorry. She looks AI. You're telling me that's a real human being?
She's just one of those fucking genetically blessed humans. Bitch.
What an ass.
Yeah. I say that to her every day. I'm like,
no. I mean, I'm just saying, have you got a photograph of it?
Oh. Actually, Loz she won't kill me. Loz will love this. Hang on. As I'm talking about this, we were doing some advertising. So I've been, I help my mates out when I can. And we were coming up with some funny campaigns. And I was like, dude, sex it up a little bit. So the reason we're talking about water filters is I've tried quite a few. And this is before I knew Loz was getting this up and going.
Yeah.
And I tried what they call gravity fed. So they look nice. It's like a nice little porcelain thing. Yeah. And you pour the water in the top and the gravity pulls it down. Yeah. The problem with that is it takes ages for it to happen. Yeah. And if you happen to just drink the water that's available, you've got to wait for it to go through again. Yeah. And they also don't take out fluoride. Okay. And then Kangen also doesn't take out fluoride and they're crazy expensive. Yep. And a lot of the other ones are either like $1,000 and they're gravity fed. It's all quite annoying. Yeah. So Loz introduced me to hers and I was like, we've got to come up with some clever ways of advertising this. And I'm just trying to try and find it. I think I put it in my deleted file. So we were like, let's be a bit more sexy with our advertising, shall we? It's just funny. And so I said to her, I'm like, Loz happens to have a nice set of...
Are we still family friendly here?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not
Just
porn.
Checking. Just checking. I don't know what you do on OnlyFans.
It's not OnlyFans. Although Loz would make a lot of money. Loz, if you're listening. Where is this?
I think she's going to be very successful without needing to go to OnlyFans. Just saying.
Oh, this is what always happens. I try and do something.
All right, so while you're doing that,
All right.
can I just say I can vouch for Loz's existence. I know she looks like she's AI, but actually I have met her before.
Have you?
Yeah, she was here.
Oh, she was here.
At your house when I was also here.
Yes.
And what really pissed me off is that her partner is equally hot. So sorry, fellas, if you're looking at Loz thinking, oh yeah, no, you've got
the
no
two of
chance.
them, they
You've got
make
no
me
chance.
sick.
And what's even worse is they're actually both really intelligent as well.
Oh,
so it
that's the
feels
thing that
deeply
pisses me
unfair.
right off.
It is deeply unfair.
They're nice people.
Yeah.
They're very attractive
Yeah.
and they're very intelligent.
Okay,
and Loz, I've said that to your face.
Can we
How
book
dare
them?
She's gonna kill me.
Oh no.
right.
That's a good pair of jugs. I'm gonna
No.
acknowledge that.
Big jugs taste better filtered. It's fucking good. That's the tagline. So we went down to the beach on the weekend. I'm like, let's grab these jugs, hold them there. Big jugs taste better filtered.
no.
It's not sexist if two women came up with it, is it?
No. I mean, at this point, you're basically taking advantage of the patriarchy. We're the victims here.
So, guys, if you are interested in a filter, I'm going to plug Loz's filter because I've tried quite a few of them. And the reason I love this is that, one, I rent. So I can't install. If I could install, that's a totally different thing. So this is the filter here. You actually just screw it onto your tap. So you don't need to install it.
The water that we've got in here came out of that.
It does. Now, it's got like a ceramic membrane in there and it's immediate. So as soon as you turn your tap on, you've got the tap's pressure through
So
it.
it feeds off the mains pressure.
Yes, so you're not bloody waiting around for it to come through. Yeah. And it takes out fluoride, which is why I've become way more intelligent.
Is okay? We'll go with that.
These photos were taken in my old kitchen too.
Oh, nice.
So that's what it looks like. And you literally just switch this little flick this little switch and you can have your normal tap or then you go over to the filtered thing. So it's great for renters. It's great for people who don't want to have to install plumbing and things like that. Yeah. And so like Loz has just launched hydronation. So if you guys want to grab a water filter, jump online. It's free shipping, $345.
All right. So what I was going to say is, can we please petition Elon Musk to give 2 of the very first seats to Mars available to Loz and her partner, just to fuck them off this planet.
Bring down the average.
Bring down the average so that I look better. All right? Can we do that? Can we all just get behind that as a project?
Wait till they start making babies. God help us all. People like that make me sick.
Move on.
But guys, if you have a small business and you want us to give you a shout out, like we're not getting anything out of it. I believe in supporting people who are doing something new.
100%.
So and look, I know there's a lot of water filters out there, but I have found that the best.
Yep.
And the water tastes bloody good.
Yeah,
which is
I can vouch for the taste of the water. I can certainly vouch for that. All right, I have some good news.
Okay. Oh, wait, do we do word or good news first?
Oh, word. Yes, word. No, we can't.
No, my turn.
Yep. All right. Yep.
My turn.
Do I get to say when?
I'm going to do the book backwards.
Okay.
Alrighty.
When? Are we doing the word backwards?
Oh, every time. Hello.
Go backwards.
Come to me.
Go backwards one page.
You can't see. Oh, there you go. Every time it happens this. Go back one page, so this way.
Yep.
Left.
Middle of the left.
Oh, I landed on fortuitous, but we know what that means. Yeah. Forestall, we kind of know what that means.
Forestall, yeah, and we know what that is.
Fractious, we know what that means. Mm-hmm. Frangible.
Oh, frangible, yeah, okay. I don't think I've ever actually used it in conversation. So let's do frangible.
Frangible. Yep. Okay, so frangible is easily breakable. Yep. And the example here is the Worthington staff knows to be excessively careful around the family's collection of frangible Ming vases.
Yep.
The sentence examples in this book are far too complicated.
They are excessively verbose.
Yeah,
yes.
they're just not necessary.
Yeah.
I've already forgotten it. Frangible.
Yes.
Frangible. All right.
Frangible, so
like
frangible. Frangible is our word. Can I do my good news now?
Yeah, please do.
Well, I got to cosplay as a real man. I got to pretend that I'm actually a real man because the dryer broke.
Oh.
Yeah. The dryer
you
broke.
Fixed it?
Well, like a real man,
This is that South Park episode, isn't it?
I pulled it into pieces. And I now know what the problem is.
You don't know how to put it back together.
The problem is that it's in bits on the floor of the laundry. Like a real man. I told you I got to be a real man this week. No, so it is in bits on the floor of the laundry. While I'm down here, a new belt should arrive. It's just a broken belt. That's all it was. And I believe everything else is in 100% working condition, which is pretty impressive because it was just a bog standard Simpson dryer that we've now owned for over 11 years.
Yeah, wow, that's good innings.
And the belt, this is the first time the belt is even gone.
Is it a heat pump or is it a normal old school dryer?
I don't know. It has a little element in the back and it sucks the
It's
air
an old
in.
school one.
Okay.
Yeah. So it shrinks your clothes.
Oh, do the heat pump ones not?
Yes.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, you got to get onto the heat pump dryers and they cost you nothing. Okay, let me tell you a story.
Okay, well, hang on. Let me finish mine. So tonight, when I get home and there is a new belt waiting for me and I have to reassemble the dryer, we will find out whether I'm just a bog standard average man who ends up having to throw it in the bin and buy a new one, or whether I am actually an elite level man who manages to fix it and it works afterwards.
Yeah, well, I mean, the old school dryers are pretty rudimentary.
Listen to you talking down to me.
Yeah, they're not frangible.
Well, listen.
Used it straight off the bat.
The belts are, evidently, they're a relatively disposable
Hang on,
item.
stop it. I just won.
Okay, yes, you won. Well done. Okay,
Thank you.
fine. A little hat tip to you. But can I just say, like, we can't all be G. Right, we can't all be pulling apart high-performance racing engines and like reconditioning them and putting them back together again. That can't be all of us. Me, I'm pulling apart 11-year-old dryers and replacing broken belts.
That's how you learn, though.
And I'm a real man. Thank you. I'm a real boy.
Did you wear a little tool belt?
Look, that would have been a little too sexy. My wife probably couldn't have coped with that.
No, you get the butt crack hanging out the back.
I've got to send you photos.
Of your butt crack?
No, you've probably seen that already. It's not that great. No, you know what? I'm going to self-censor. I'm not going to say the thing I was about to say. Carry on. Okay. What's your good news?
We have seen your butt crack, except I censored it. It was in one of the early episodes when you were adjusting something.
You sure it wasn't the...
No,
okay,
you were leaning over and I put like a little censor clip over you. By the way, heat pumps. If you get one that has a really high energy rating, it costs you nothing to run. They're expensive to buy.
What makes it different? How's it? What's a heat pump versus just
an
element?
Don't make me explain this on air. So essentially, it works on, I want to say, evaporative technology. So it's taking the moisture out, and it puts it all in like a little
So it's
tub.
like a split system air conditioner. How it has the how it uses your gases, compresses the gases. I mean, they refer in the UK they refer to that as a heat pump.
I literally have
no
idea.
For air conditioning.
Gee, help.
All right, we're going to have to look this up.
No, so basically, what ends up happening, you have a tray and it fills up with water and you tip that out.
Yeah. So that is essentially an air conditioning. So all the moisture is condensing. Yeah. Okay.
And they're incredibly energy efficient if you buy a good one. Anyway, I had mine for almost 10 years and I just sold it when we moved in here because we didn't need to.
Whereas I prefer to put CO2 back into the atmosphere to help the plants grow. So I don't care about energy efficiency. I just want to burn that coal.
Your electric bill will go up. Anyway, stop. Next thing. Did you know that landlines are making a comeback?
No.
Oh, no, shit. Why does that always happen? What are we doing? So landlines, this is a new thing. I found this on someone shared this on Instagram and I was like, I'm curious. I'll go and look at it. This has been shared by a parenting page about how landlines are really good for children.
Right.
Why? It teaches them basic communication. So landlines, you have to talk to someone's parents first. It helps build social skills. Practicing polite conversation. There's no ghosting, no text, just real talk. And then it gives your kid more freedom. No smartphone yet. A landline lets your kid call friends, set up play dates, and check in with you. Like the old days, guys. Some parents say the landline has become the hotline for neighbourhood kids. Kids take turns calling, planning, and hanging out. Less screen time, more real time. It's a low-key parenting hack. Let your kid make their own calls, order pizza, call grandma, build that independence.
I see.
How are we having this conversation in 2025?
That is curious, but also if the other kid doesn't have a mobile phone of their own, then my kid still has to talk to their parents because they've got to call their parents' mobile phone. So I mean, like some of the advantages, I'm kind of like, I think you're just sort of stretching a little bit. You're reaching a little bit for that one.
I just thought that was interesting. I was like, wow, the conversations that we're having about re-embracing old analog technologies. I don't really have good news.
Oh. Well, that's
I
depressing.
guess we have new internet. That's good news.
Yeah.
I had a meltdown yesterday because I haven't done any work in 24 hours. I was like,
But you're a graphic designer. You don't do real work.
no,
Yeah.
no,
You
I
just
don't.
you just point a camera at things and go click.
Yeah, that's fair.
No.
Other news, I don't know if it's good, but we got insulted for our accents.
I did see this. And I've got thick skin. But this one, I'm going to admit, this one hurt a little bit.
I would love this channel so much if it weren't for the Australian accents.
I'm so sorry that I'm an Australian.
Should we be posh?
Well, no, I think they want an American accent.
Which one though?
well,
Do you want me to be third and Bill or?
Did you? Oh, you don't have the up-to-date screenshot. See, I replied.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and I said, yeah, I'm Australian, suck it up. And then they countered with some Australian actor who played an American role. I don't remember which one, but it was it was like saying that one of the Hemsworth brothers, put on an American accent for this role. It's like, yeah, he's playing a role, and the role was American. I'm playing a role. It's as me, and me is Australian.
Wait, so old mate was suggesting that we adopt American accents for his pleasure only.
I think so. Now, also, you know what?
Bloody
I'm
hell.
not even going to look it up. I can't be bothered. But can I also say, having an Australian accent is generally regarded as an asset in most of the world, as long as you're not one of these ones. Australian accent.
That's like the 70s Aussie.
It's just that really nasally, nasty kind of accent. Now, my dad made sure that I had a fairly neutral, somewhat educated sounding Australian accent,
Yeah.
despite the fact that I'm one of the least educated people you will ever meet, thanks homeschooling. But I then developed that accent further when I did my acting training, and I introduced my R's a little bit. And people say I sound American because I don't miss the R's. And what I've cultivated, I believe, my aim was to develop an accent that anyone from any English-speaking country would instantly be able to understand,
Yeah.
no matter how quickly I spoke. That all of the elements that make English what it is across all the different dialects would be present, but still have a distinctly Australian sound as opposed to English or American or South African or anyone else. And I think I've succeeded in doing that. So I'm actually a little bit proud of the very specific variety of Australian accent that I have. So that guy can go put it up himself.
Well, do you know what's funny is I actually had an American accent for a really long time.
Well, yeah, raised in Japan.
Yeah, and I had that sort of like Sydney Watson has the same accent I had. You sort of you twist between the two.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Every time I hang around an American, it just comes back
yes.
so quick.
Yes.
And I sound like I'm putting it on. I'm not. It's just that was how I learned. So I went to an expat school, and it was the American school system, and my teachers were American.
Yeah.
So that's why it's really hard to unlearn that. You don't realize how valuable that early days childhood is at cementing things. Like I still spell things with a Z. I'm trying not to. I know not to. But it's just habitual. It's just in the back of my head.
You need to put your U's back into your words. Do you put the U's in?
I do. I remember, but I'll accidentally say collar.
Collar.
Or like it's just weird. It just comes out in weird words. And if I've been around Americans and I'm in America, it's just I slip into it. I'm like, whoa, where did that come from?
All right, seeing as you're going to be a depressing little sad sack and not bring us any good news, can I give you a second piece of good news?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm interviewing Jim Penman on Tuesday.
Oh, is that Jim's mowing?
Jim's mowing for a slow chat.
Okay.
So slow chat on my YouTube and Facebook and all the other things from 8 o'clock Tuesday night next week. I don't know what that date will be. Come and join us as I explore the life of Jim Penman.
I did see a post from him recently that he's entering politics.
He's looking at it, and he's got his head's screwed on well. We don't agree on everything, but that's true for everybody. But his head's screwed on well. He's got real world life experience, and he's bringing essentially a YIMBY platform. So a yes in my backyard, which I think is a movement that we need. We at least need it to be within the conversation to shift the boundaries of the Overton window. And to move away from this idea that just because someone doesn't want it to happen in their backyard, that trumps everything else.
Interesting on that conversation. This is a bit of a segue from it, but
Is this a tangent?
no.
Oh,
but I will.
sorry.
I will
I'll-
definitely let you know.
I'll curb my enthusiasm.
Yeah. I told everyone I'm moving to up north, and then like most people, like yes, like I'm a Melburnian. I moved up, blah blah blah. Great, but then I've had a small section of the market going, please don't. Like it's already overrun with Melburnians. It's already pushing locals out. Like the whole, we're being taken over, we're being pushed out. And to that I say, I'm sorry. We've let in 2 million people in the last 2 years. Where do you think we're going?
Yeah.
Like, welcome to progress. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like, it's not about being a sleepy little town anymore. I don't know what you want. This is Australia. I'm an Australian citizen. I can move where I want.
Yeah, so I butted heads pretty hard with Stephen Shavura on this. Now, Stephen's a man I've got a lot of time and a lot of respect for. He's a theologian, university lecturer up in Sydney. Really great guy. He and his wife, wonderful, lovely people. But they've got this sort of idea that where they've moved to, they moved there because it had a certain quaint aesthetic. And now there are people that want to change that. And they're kind of, in my opinion, I'm editorializing what they've said, but essentially saying that they have some sort of a right for the area they moved to remain similar to what it was when they moved there. The thing is, the same thing was said by the person who grumbled about the house that they're living in right now being built over the top of the farmland. Like, well, I moved in here when it was all paddocks and bubble, and they've gone and changed it on me. Right? Sorry. That doesn't hold any currency with me. If you want it to stay the way it is, you pay for it. You buy it all.
Yeah.
Because what you're actually saying is you don't want other people to be able to use their own property in the way that they believe best suits them and their goals and their life. Sorry, you don't get that right. If you don't own it, it's their right. It's their decision.
I'd say it's very short-term thinking, because with a lot of the influx of the Melburnians coming up to Queensland, for those of you who might be concerned about it, you're not getting the drabs. You're not getting the youth crime.
No, that's right.
You're getting, I know there's youth crime up there. But what I'm saying is you're getting
but it was
people
already
who
there.
are
It's not
leaving,
imported
who are
from Melbourne.
entrepreneurs, who are bringing wealth, who are bringing skills. Like, you're getting a migration of good quality people coming up who probably don't want to do the same thing. Hey, you guys don't have very good coffee shops. Let's bring a coffee shop here.
They desperately need coffee culture up there.
Well, do you know what I mean? Like, you're getting good people. And if that's bringing wealth into your local area, it's not about pushing out the locals. Unfortunately, that's what happens.
Yeah.
When you start to gentrify the area, new houses getting built, new housing estates, yes, it would make sense that if you've lived in a little shack for the last 30 years, that's not going to be viable. I know
It's going to be a shock.
This same discussion has been had around Byron Bay, and people saying, oh, Byron's not Byron anymore. Well, yeah, the world's not 30 years, 40 years, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
How do you think people in Bali feel?
Let me read you an email that I got this week. So we've talked about the fact that I get hundreds of emails and messages and thousands of comments and so forth on my content. Actually, I get hundreds a day, not every week. But this was an interesting one. So this was sent to me by someone who later on admits that I'd only seen a few of my videos. So they made a few incorrect assumptions about where I'm coming from.
Yep.
And they wrote to me, and look, they put effort into their email. Credit to them, they've got a concern. They communicated it well. They put effort into their email. But their concern is that there is a housing development happening near them. Now, this is up in Queensland.
Yep.
In Bellbird Park in Queensland, there is a developer that is in the process of constructing 6 dual occupancy freestanding houses across just 2 suburban lots. So essentially 3 townhouses per lot, but done up as a little cluster of 6 with probably a common driveway in between would be how I would picture that in my head. They are exploiting a loophole in the NDIS-linked community residence exemption under the planning regulations of 2017. Now, wonderful email. He's actually done a really lovely job. Like, I kind of feel bad because he's put all the right effort in, and he goes through all the channels that he's gone to try and get some sort of a resolution with this. I don't see the problem. His view is that this is corruption. They're exploiting loopholes. They shouldn't be allowed to do this. My view is the corruption is the government presuming to tell people what they can and can't do with their land. And anyone that finds any kind of a loophole that allows them to increase housing supply, decrease housing costs, do any of those sorts of things is actually literally just, they are helping the world by maneuvering around the corruption that is the government and the planning process.
Yeah.
So I said that back to him. So my reply to him was, hi, Brad, I'm afraid my answer isn't going to be the one you're looking for. I'm very much pro-development, yes, including in my own neighbourhood and backyard, and anything that can be done to get around council restrictions and get on with building more houses and especially cheap houses is a great thing in my book. What you've raised is certainly noteworthy, but honestly, if I were to do a story about it, I'd be taking the approach of encouraging more people to do it because higher density affordable housing is in desperately short supply right now. I know that's not what you were hoping for, but that's my honest answer. Thanks for the email.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. So I've talked about our little estate before. When this was built, it was meant to be just single homes, right?
Yeah.
And then over the years, now it's been here 20 years, they've started bringing in some townhouses and people are up in arms about it. And I'm like, what are you up in arms about?
Bad luck.
Most people can't afford, like most of the houses here are double story on big-ish blocks and they're worth around $2 million.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
guys, these aren't fancy houses. I'm not trying to say I live in Toorak. I'm just not saying where I live for a reason. They're average, they're McMansions. That's what I call them, McMansions. Most people can't afford that.
Yeah.
Where do you want people to live? This is this whole not in my backyard thing. Okay, where then?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is because the average people can no longer have been priced out of the housing market. They have to go live in slums.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? We all have to go live like an hour and a half away from the city because we can't afford your big land? No, what it means is, unfortunately, times have to change. If we're going to keep opening up our shores to having immigration, which, by the way, is our next topic, then we need to make houses. Where do you want people to live? And so that I say to the people who are upset, a lot of Victorians are coming up to Queensland, what do you expect? Like, where do you want us to go?
And actually, specifically, we need to be making smaller and cheaper houses. That's actually specifically the type we need to make. Our houses have risen so quickly in dollar terms and as a proportion of income terms, so quickly that even entry-level housing is not entry-level anymore. No one, that the first few rungs of the housing ladder have been removed. And our planning laws either outright ban you from making small affordable housing because they create minimum sizes on all kinds of things, or they just make the economics unviable. Where, in theory, you could build a small house on that block, but because the block has to be a certain size and there's all these other costs, of course you're going to build the 4-bedroom home with the 3 bathrooms and the double garage. Of course you're going to do that. It makes no financial sense not to.
Yeah.
The problem is that means that the 2-bedroom bedsitter that isn't an apartment, and apartments generally, in my opinion, are a terrible financial investment. So that's a terrible way to start getting on the financial ladder, the property ladder, in my opinion. The idea of the unit that used to exist, the little humble brick, usually detached, but sometimes with a single common wall, brick home, 2 bedrooms, 1 common bathroom, and a little tiny backyard big enough for the clothesline. That entry level, no one's building that now.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. So I'm actually I'm not just in favour of development, I'm explicitly in favour of non-high-rise, high-density development. That is, I think, the thing that is missing on the property landscape right now.
As a single renter, the last 10 years, about 3 houses I've lived in units.
Yep.
And they were all built in the 60s or 70s and they've been refurbed.
Yep.
And that's always what I opted for because I'm a single person. I don't want a 5-bedroom home. I just wanted, a spare room where I can have my home office, bedroom for me, nice lounge room, and I wanted it to be relatively new. I didn't want a huge backyard because I didn't have the capacity to do the maintenance and I didn't have to do lawns. But they're becoming harder and harder to get. And now what I'm finding, like I've always lived Bayside when I've been in Melbourne, and you do have a lot of those 60s, 70s style unit blocks.
Yeah.
But now what's happening is the big homes, particularly along the Nepean Highway, like Cheltenham, Moorabbin, where there were single family homes with huge front yards, huge backyards, what developers are doing are buying 2 of those, knocking them down, and they're building like I don't even know what you call it. It's like a condo apartment complex. So they're not high rise. They're maybe 3 stories high. But somehow they've made 20 units and they have underground garage parking and you get this, like, if you're lucky, a little shred of a outdoor area. But for the most part, you share a communal hallway and they're 2-bedroom, and they're like prison cells, in my opinion.
We should be actively encouraging the building of 2 and 3 and on the right size blocks, even 4 single-story brick units on a block in all these new subdivisions and all these new housing subdivisions. At the moment, they're all going in there and just building the same cookie cutter 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom or 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom.
Or they're building those super narrow townhouses that are just jam-packed next to each other.
Yes, they are doing
and
that too.
And they're super narrow.
Yeah. Our planning laws at the moment mean that you cannot, the bottom rungs of the ladder have been removed, and people like this gentleman here who messaged me in good faith, I'm not trying to cut this guy down, but his perspective is wrong. Anything that allows people to build in higher density in ways that are more affordable is a good thing right now.
Yes. Good news, sarcasm edition.
Okay.
Do you know about this story?
Just a reminder, a woman of colour has never won the Gold Logie. Well, that's because it's gold coloured.
So, guys, if I make the screen smaller, it just goes all weird. But anyway, so this is a article from Pedestrian TV. As woke as they come, very left-leaning. Now, do you know who this person is on the left in the gold dress?
I only because I saw this crossed my news feed. I would never have spotted it otherwise. Apparently, she was it Home and Away for many years? Yeah.
Everyone bloody knows who she is.
Not really, no. I've never seen a full episode of Home and Away or Neighbours.
I don't think I have either, but I just know from, 30 years of Aussie television. So she played Irene on Home and Away.
Yep.
And she played that character for 32 years or 33 years or something.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. The Logies are essentially a popularity-based thing, aren't they?
Some of them are, some of them aren't.
Okay,
So
all
the Gold Logie, yes. So what happens is the industry nominates
Okay.
and then the public votes.
Okay,
So the industry goes and, I'm nominating these 5 people for the Gold Logie, and then they let the public choose from there.
Choose. Yep. Okay.
So Poe, I think she was in the very first season of MasterChef.
This is the lady on the right.
Right,
now,
lady on the
talking-
right,
yeah, okay,
and
yep.
I
recognize the name. I recognize
and
the
she's
name,
had a great career, and like Poe's cool. Like I actually don't watch any free to air TV, so I think
Sure.
she's on a show at the moment. Can't speak to it, whatever. I just happen to know her from MasterChef. But Lynne, a 33-year career in Australian television, like that's unheard of these days.
And how dare they try and rain on her parade? This is her little moment, something that people in television would have been dreaming of and hoping for a very long time.
But this is that whole destiny thing. This is the left. No one's allowed to be happy for them.
Yeah.
So I want to point out a couple of things. So you talk about the patriarchy and it's dominated by the white man. Okay, well, Lynne, what is she, like 60? She must be getting close to 70. I have no idea, by the way.
Yeah.
But she's a mature woman who's had a decorated career. She's done really well. Let her have a fucking Gold Logie. Why do we need to piss on other people
that's right.
who are having a moment?
That's right. And can we reflect on the fact that we're supposedly this super racist country where people like Indira Naidu, spends decades on television as a celebrated TV host and personality. You've got Stan Grant in his many different shades. You've got people like Poe who have successful careers. You've got
Waleed won the Gold Logie in 2017 or something.
So come on, can we just acknowledge that actually Australia is a place where people can succeed and fail largely on their merit? I would argue that some of those people are probably promoted beyond their merit because of their identity politics. That's my personal opinion on some of them. But many of them have earned their accolades. They've earned the awards that they've received. And we are one of those few countries where people who literally have been in the country for only a few years can have tremendous success in Australian society. Can we not focus on that?
Of course we can't, because that's not what these people want. And how insulting, this is the way I look at it, how insulting for a person of colour, if those who don't know what a POC is, a person of colour, to say that the only way you get a Gold Logie is because your immutable traits, your race. So it's got nothing to do with, are you good?
Yeah.
Were you talented?
Yeah.
Did you perform well?
Yeah.
No. We know. It's all right. We'll pacify you.
That's right.
Here's your little trophy, you poor POC.
And it
how insulting.
It cheats everybody. It's the tyranny of low expectations, and it cheats everybody. It cheapens the achievements of people, with those traits, of the achievements of women, the achievements of people with colour, etc., are cheapened by the existence of quotas, the existence of affirmative action. Even if they weren't necessarily recipients themselves, people will ask themselves the question. That's a fact. We've just recently seen, I believe it was we've got a new Chief Commissioner of the Federal Police.
Oh, okay, as well.
And and when her appointment was announced, the big deal was this is the first female Chief
sick
Commissioner.
of this is the first. This
Right?
is the first. Shut up.
And I go, well, is she the right person for the job? She may well be. I know nothing about her. I haven't looked into it. I'm not making commentary on that. But all I want to know is she the right person for the job? Does she care about human rights and giving people due process? And does she look after her people well? Is she going to stand up to the government if they start wanting to do things with federal police that they shouldn't be allowed to do? That's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
I couldn't give a rat's ass whether this is a woman or a man, the first woman, the first man, whatever. Don't care.
Yeah.
Tell me about how good she's going to be at this job and how qualified she is. But you'll find very little of that. It's all about the fact that she's a woman.
Yeah. I think I mentioned this on Monday as well. I really want to find who said this first, but I've stolen it from someone. And they were saying that if, when engaged in a conversation with someone or a debate, the first thing they do is resort to racism, bigotry, fascism, whatever, it shows you that they have the intellectual depth of a puddle, because essentially their arguments are so poor, they just default, and they've run out of answers.
Yeah.
So it's like in their mind, they've got like 5 cards they can pull out: racism, misogyny, whatever. And that's just what they blanket, because they can't think further than that.
Well, there is another layer to that. People in a debate will lead with whatever they believe to be the strongest argument they have. So what they're admitting by leading with the racist card or what have you is that they think that's the thing that's going to work.
Yeah.
And they may have more depth than that, but whatever depth is there, they believe is less effective. Now, we have to remember that we're in a culture that doesn't pay attention to facts and figures and data. We make our decisions on our emotions. And so these people in these situations, people having these debates, especially if they're typically having these debates in a very left-centric context, like an ABC Q&A type show or The Project or these sorts of places, well, yeah, playing the race card works, and that's why they play it first. It doesn't necessarily mean they don't have anything else, but it's indicative that we as a culture have empowered such meaningless, vacuous angles that that's actually what is most effective. And you're right, most people have no further depth than that.
Well, back to my Lynne McGranger post. So, interestingly, this is why I say it was good news. The comments have they just been turned off?
They were there a second ago.
They were literally there a second ago. Is that... Hang on, let me refresh. You
there
it
it is.
out. Okay.
There it is. Okay.
So the comments
That was
are...
exciting for a second there.
I was like, oh my goodness. Okay, so the comments are calling this out, rightfully so. And things like, can we just celebrate a mature woman winning?
Yep.
Does it though? Can't someone win an acting award based on their acting career, which is what it's all about, not based on their identity or background? This headline really didn't get the response you intended, did it? 33 years in the industry, let her celebrate her moment. But I want to bring your attention to one particular comment. Oh, I did love this one. Do you know who Colin is? He was on MasterChef years ago. He's a Irish, this is him. He's an Irish cook.
That's half of him.
That's him there. Do you know him?
No, I didn't.
He's been on MasterCef. Anyway.
Oh, actually, yeah, that bottom one with the beard.
Yeah, you know him.
Okay, yeah.
Or maybe it was on My Kitchen Rules. I don't know. Now I've lost my bloody post. But anyway, so he commented, oh, you'd be really upset if a man won that, wouldn't you? And people are just calling him out. And I was like, well, why that warms me up? Because you go, imagine if a man won, then you'd really have something to cry about.
Yeah.
Why this warms me up is because people are done.
Yeah.
Now, this is someone who has also a big career in television, and he probably knows he's going to cop slack for that, but he's like, I'm saying
don't
it anyway.
Care. Yeah, don't care.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. But I'm trying to find the comment I want to call out. One, Lydia Thorpe just wrote.
No, Lydia Thorpe got in on this?
Commented. Oh, God.
Honestly, do you have nothing better to do with your time?
And all she wrote was, just another day in the colony.
That was because it all comes back to that.
It's always about fucking racism with
We're
Lydia.
We're paying her $200,000 a year to basically be a one-trick pony.
Here we go. Here's a comment. Just another day in the colony with like clappy emoji. And then the comments, same thing, calling her out. Another day in the colony that you are in as well. You wouldn't have been born here if it hadn't. You wouldn't have been born if whites hadn't arrived and colonized Australia. Sorry, the spelling's off. Considering your dad is a white man and being half white yourself, get off social media. Then if the colony has a problem, you people don't have it back then. What? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
You're a disgrace to your people. How do you even have a job? Like, the reason I call out the comments is because I'm telling you now, it's shifted.
Oh, the mood has shifted. I mean, we've been covering this, though. The Oddcast has only been around for 6 months, but you and I have been talking about this for literally years in other things that we've done, and I've been talking about it now for some time. We are at a moment of enormous and rapid social change. The revolution is eating its own children. I've talked about this in detail before. I'm not going to go through it in detail again, but in brief, the revolution is eating its own children. The woke revolution moved so far that it started to crucify the people that were driving the train early in the revolution. Now they got off at their stop and the train kept going. And now the people on the train are trying to crucify the people that rode the train halfway. Martina Navratilova, Jermaine Greer, J.K. Rowling, and there's so many other examples of feminist icons. Martina Navratilova, first openly gay sporting superstar, and openly lesbian. That was super controversial at the time, and she was a pioneer for that particular movement. Now she's persona non grata because she got off the train. The revolution is eating its own children. The second thing to look for is when the culture breeds its own counterculture.
Yep.
And that's definitely happening now. We've talked about that before. Younger people rejecting drugs, rejecting alcohol, going and getting trades. Now, this is not all of them, obviously, but there is a massive cohort within the youngest generations now that are taking life much more seriously than previous generations did and rejecting a lot of the fruit of the sexual revolution of the 1960s. Not that they know that that's what it is that they're rejecting, but that's what they're rejecting.
Yep.
We are watching a moment of tremendous social change, and we are seeing it. We're seeing the change in our comedy. They are on the leading edge of culture. Comedians always are. We're seeing that in the subversiveness, in the pushback, in the calling out of a lot of the transgender stuff, a lot of the woke stuff. We're seeing it now on social media, people being emboldened to actually speak out. We're seeing it commercially. We saw it with the Bud Light boycott. Go woke, go broke became a thing, and it's true. But now with Sydney Sweeney, we're seeing the other side. get sort of traditionally conservative, go back to traditional
play you a
beauty,
video?
and you're actually going to thrive as a result. Yes, please do.
All right. So I have taken a little bit of a leaf out of your book.
Ooh.
And I'm approaching my social media content a little bit differently. And I was just trialing just to see. Now, if I had made this video 2 years ago, immediately cancelled again.
Yeah.
And, and I've gotten into that much trouble on social media. I kind of know where that boundary
where it
is.
Yeah.
And I was like, I put up the thing about witchery, which I've already played. Mm-hmm. And it's still going viral. It's at 150,000 views or something.
Yeah, wow.
Like, that's a lot for Instagram.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so that was well received. And then I did the Range Rover one. Mm-hmm. Then I did one about AI models. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to push. And I went to bed and I was like, I am actually going to be cancelled tomorrow. Like, I just knew something was happening. I woke up and I had one soy boy comment. One.
Wow.
So I'm going to play you the video. It's like 2.5 minutes. Sorry. Okay. But I think this is...
Have a good nap, everybody.
Shut up. I think this is worth talking about. Rebrand is over and it's the best possible outcome for progress. So let's talk about it. To understand how we got to the era of everyone I don't like is a Nazi and everything I don't agree with is fascism, we need to recap. This consumer exhaustion is a culmination of years of surface level branding that talks down to real people. The woke industrial complex started as a response to the 2016 Black Lives Matter movement and broke into mainstream around 2020 during the pandemic. With so much civil unrest and the unsettling rise of cancel culture, the capital class believed that brands needed to embrace social justice issues and push progressive ideology to maintain their market share. And in their defense, this was backed by consumer research, which showed the next generation would only purchase from brands that aligned with their values. But the truth of business always remained that people rely on brands to solve their problems, not to preach about ideology and serve up everything with a side of guilt. In recent months, we've seen a host of campaigns from brands shifting back to a much more traditional advertising view. It's apolitical and people-centric. After years of woke dominating advertising and brand and being told that rejecting beauty standards was empowering and rejecting family, gender, biology, history, and even reality was liberation, the result was desperately unhappy individuals who can no longer function as adults. This era of wokeness encouraged delusions, turning marketing into activism and activism into a spectator sport. It rewarded outrage, mob-think, and performative victimhood. And the result was a new arm of cancel culture zealots emerged, hijacking comment threads and cancelling brands for every possible misstep. Everything from the internet itself to our purchase choices and who we chose to associate with was subject to an ideological purity test. The problem with that being the horizon kept shifting, which meant you could not be ideologically pure enough. And the result? Consumer fatigue. People are exhausted by it. Now here's where 18 months of my master's research kicks in. Replacing conventional beauty with the idea that nothing should be aspirational killed desire. When you kill desire, you kill momentum and then ambition. All the things that make us reach, grow, connect, and create. What wokeness did culturally is tell people don't bother, don't try to be fit, to be beautiful, to be excellent, because it was elitist and exclusionary. So instead we got mediocrity, a culture of resentment, digital rage, and apathy. Now you've all seen the backlash to the Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ad, but it's not because it's problematic, it's because it actually works. It tapped into real attraction and it was refreshing. We hadn't seen that for a while. We're in an era where everything is pathologized and comes under the microscope, but ladies, men didn't hear the double entendre, they just saw the double Ds. People like boobs. Works every time. We're already seeing traditional families and babies and kids making its way back into advertising because people are yearning for something they can connect to, something real. The truth is, consumers are tired of being told that everything they love and value is wrong or outdated. Now, this isn't about regressing or romanticizing the past. It's a recalibration to what makes us human. After years of ideological noise and aesthetic confusion, and now at the rise of AI threatening to take away what's left of our individuality, that desire we were told to suppress has been awakened.
Well, I got to say, have you thought about starting a podcast?
Oh, I probably should.
Yeah, you should probably think about that because that's not bad.
It's not bad, is it? I'm getting a little bit more confident.
Yeah.
So
it shows.
Yeah.
Also, can I just be a misogynistic pig for a second? But I have permission because you've talked about my hair. I really like your hair like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did try.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's a good look.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not very good with doing my hair. I do try. You can see one side's better than the other, but thank you.
But I thought that was a very good look for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. But I have found that these videos are doing really well.
Right.
Because I'm not being deliberately nasty or aggressive. I'm just merely saying like how we feel. And interestingly, since posting these reels, the people I've gotten, that's probably my good news. I'm getting a lot of new followers in the sense that It's the caliber of people. These are marketing people. These are people who are stylists, who are decision makers in the creative industry. I'm like,
Right.
these people, I was persona non grata to them for the last 5 years.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden, like I think I told you the head of marketing for Bulgaria, Australia followed me.
Yeah.
And then I've had a couple of brands follow me. I was like, oofed. Oofed.
You're making waves.
Yeah. So it's those moments where you go, huh.
Yep.
Because you wouldn't dare say that in 2022.
No. And I really love what I just saw, because number one, you're spot on. Number two, you're beginning to believe in what I saw in you a year ago, 2 years ago.
Give me a compliment. Fuck.
All right. And I think our audience is beginning to see in you what I saw in you a year or two ago, and our numbers are starting to reflect that.
Yeah.
I think you've got a really big future, and I'm really excited about that. And all the people that told me, what are you doing involving Carl? You'd be better off with somebody else. You'd be better off doing your own thing. Shut up. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, interestingly, I kind of did a little bit like what you were saying you do. You know, there's all these things I want to talk about. I'm like, all right, let's just write a script. Like,
Yep.
like I'm thinking like I'm writing an essay.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's what I do. And then I just basically read out my essay.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
and then someone was like, oh, you sound rehearsed. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. And that's also why the delivery is captivating and holds your attention, because you never lose your focus, which means the viewer is never given a moment to lose theirs.
So I don't know if you guys, I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but the way you do your videos, you actually have headphones in, right?
Correct.
I need to learn to do that.
Well, so I'm not aware of anyone else in the world who does it the way that I do it. And I know of a number of people now who have tried, because they heard about it from me, and every single one of them has come back to me and said, I can't do that. That's impossible.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, the way I do it is I write my script word for word, and then I record my script into my phone as a voice memo. So I read the entire thing as a voice memo. Then I put some earbuds in and I play my own voice into my own ear. And I will speak a few seconds after I'm hearing my own voice. What that allows me to do is to play with the words. I don't have to remember anything. I'm not inside my head. I'm just listening and reacting. Monkey hear, monkey say. And it's still my words, right? It's still genuinely me and my opinions and everything else, but I'm not having to think of the words in that moment, and I'm not having to read the words. I'm not disengaged from the camera because I'm having to read from a teleprompter. I can be fully engaged with the camera, and every single word I say can land if the camera would just not be on you and would be on me instead. Every single word that I say can land. Now, I can do this off the top of my head as well, which is what I'm doing right now. But if I've got my own voice in my ear, I can literally go for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, how long do you want, without even hesitating to say and be fully engaged with my viewer, with the camera, communicating with you at a much deeper level than what most people can. So that's the trick.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a crack again. So I did buy a teleprompter, but my issue with the teleprompter is I can see my eyes.
Correct.
Doing this.
I hate it when I'm watching, and you can tell. So a guy by the name of Julian, he calls himself the Melbourne headshot photographer. He's a fabulous photographer, and he was the first person I came across that did headshots for me, and he's genuinely really good. And I discovered something shooting with him because he had was it a DSLR or a mirrorless? Might have been a mirrorless, I can't remember, but the one where he'd be looking through the eyepiece, and when he pulled his head away, light would come through the other way through the lens. And so deep inside the lens, I would be able to see just a white glow. Yeah. Because it was just daylight, unfocused. I couldn't see anything, but it was just unfocused light. And I realized that's right back inside the lens near the sensor. Yeah. And in my head, I suddenly went, hang on, if I'm focused on the front glass, I'm not actually looking at the other person. Yeah. At the person who's looking at the photo. I need to be focused on the sensor. Yeah. And every time he'd pull his head away for a moment, I would refocus deeper into the camera and engage my eyes with the sensor, or as deep into that lens as I could get my eyes to go. And people would comment at how deeply I was looking. Yeah. And like, oh, wow, what were you thinking? And there's nothing. I was thinking, look at the light, look at the light. Right? That's what I was thinking. Yeah. And I realized there's something about those micro disengagements, just being focused on the front of the lens instead of focused on the sensor, looking at the words in front of the lens instead of actually engaging with the person that you're talking to through that lens. And it makes a world of difference, which is why I didn't want to do a teleprompter. Yeah, well, since we're talking about it, the other thing that I do is I find it a lot easier. So what I do, if I put the camera on me, I have my iPhone in a little iPhone stand, and I record through the Instagram app. So it gives you a 60-second timer. Yep. So you do a hands-free, and I'm looking at myself. So I'm actually making eye contact with myself, which is why it looks like I'm looking at you. No. I can't do this. Incorrect.
No?
If you're looking at yourself on the screen, then you're
not
making eye
contact.
No, because
where the lens is, that's what it looks like.
It's got to be very close.
So when I do that, I find that I'm like, it's not the same. And also, I feel like just filming it that way, so I do 60 seconds and then I download the clip and then I mash it all up together.
Yeah, you cut it up.
And so I sort of look, I know this is not the most efficient way. This is just what I'm doing at the moment. I look at my notes and I remember like those 2 lines. I go, okay, yeah, I know what I'm saying.
Yep.
And then I talk to myself.
Yep.
Whereas the teleprompter, I'm like, so today we're looking at I can't get a rhythm.
So that's how I did all my early videos
Yeah.
up until I started the Aussie Wire. That's not true. I dabbled around with this voice in the ear thing actually on and off over the years, but the vast majority of all of my work for the first 12, 13 years was scripted, written down, and then I would do it paragraph by paragraph.
Yeah,
And if
okay.
you go back to my early videos, it edits and jumps around a lot between different locations. And the reason I was jumping and cutting so much was because I could only remember so much at a time. I wasn't going to memorize the whole script. I was just doing little chunks.
Yeah.
And I used the editing to smooth that over and to hide that. So that's where you're at the moment. And whether you end up doing the voice in the ear thing or finding some other thing, the development that I'm seeing in you as evidenced by that clip you just showed us is fantastic.
Well, the other thing is I'm like, I'd love someone to edit for me. It's time-consuming shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, we should probably move on to our first topic. So do you want to fight?
Well, firstly, I'd like you to have made that auto so that everything that I just said nicely about you wasn't just on your face. But, too late now. Anyone who's actually just listening to the audio, you're missing out on how much we fight over the vision. and because the little switching desk is in reach of both of us. And so at different times, I'll override what she's doing, and then she'll override what I'm doing, and then we'll kind of have little.
Especially if I need to like pick my nose or something, I just put the camera on you. So I go,
Yeah, we're like a 70-year-old couple fighting over a cup of tea. It's just
Well, now let's actually fight. Let's
Okay.
go head to head. So
right.
This is an article that came out, and of course it's the Daily Mail, so it's full of hyperbole. Speaking of advertising, the Daily Mail is just next level.
Oh, yeah.
I actually can't look at this website. It stresses me out. I don't even know where to look. Okay, so the article, this is the headline. Anthony Albanese to increase the number of migrants in Australia as critics issue an urgent warning.
Yep.
Now, this is about increasing international student places.
Yep.
So he's increasing it to 295,000 in 2026, which is 25,000 more than he did in 2025.
Right.
Now, obviously, the conversation around this is where are they going to go?
Mm-hmm.
So, we're already in a massive rental crisis. There is no rentals. And obviously, with the rate that landlords are leaving Victoria, it's becoming increasingly harder.
Mm-hmm.
And so Anthony Albanese and his cabinet have come out saying, we're talking to universities to build on-campus residency. Now, if we know anything about building anything in Victoria alone, it's going to take years.
Yeah.
Particularly something like, on-campus residency, like a multi-story building.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
years
2
and
years
years.
at least.
Gosh, that's optimistic. Yeah.
And so if anyone thinks that this isn't a problem, let me tell you something that's literally just happened to me and G this week. We just got given a notice to vacate. Now, this
Yes.
is important
Yes.
because G and I both only left our old houses because I got a notice of sale.
Yep.
They tried to sell my house and then they couldn't sell it. So they kicked me out and then put the rent up by $170 a week and put in a new tenant.
Yeah.
And then we moved into this house and we said to the real estate agent, we want a long-term rental. We don't want to be moving at the end of this year. Are they ever moving back in? Are they on holidays? Like, what's the go with the landlord? They said no. The landlord owns another property around the corner. They're never moving back in. Great. So you can imagine our surprise when we're almost at a year, we get a letter saying notice to vacate. Do you know what the reason would be?
Well, I'm going to guess they're going to say that it's because the family wants to move back in because that's what they need to say for legal reasons.
No. So we got a statutory declaration saying that they have family moving over from India and they are going to let their family move into the property.
I see. Okay, so it is for family reasons, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so for family
But
reasons.
migrants.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for anyone who's thinking that this isn't happening, it's literally, I swear to God, these stories just happened to me. So I've got something for the podcast.
Yeah, and I'm glad that happened to you and not me.
Yeah. So that was the thing that made us go, fuck it, we're going to Noosa. Like, we're out.
Yeah. So this is interesting to me. An increase in 25,000 international students is a drop in the bucket compared to what's going on. I'm concerned that immigrants are being made the scapegoats for problems that are being created by government. there is no question that the level of immigration makes a lot of the government's mistakes worse. It makes the symptoms a lot worse. But fundamentally, the problem actually isn't the immigrants. The problem is that our government has completely screwed our economy, has completely screwed our productivity, has created a bunch of unproductive work so that our employment rate is a completely dishonest lie now because, yeah, they might have a job, but it's not a productive one. And we've created incentives to attract exactly the wrong people to Australia. Instead of people coming, here to work and make a better life for themselves and their family, they're coming here because we offer them a soft option. We've got welfare, we've got free healthcare, we've got all that stuff, and then we're failing to actually hold accountable any immigrants that do turn out to be criminal, and we've created a two-tier justice system. If you wanted to turn a population against new arrivals, the current policy settings are the perfect ones to do it. If you wanted to create a race war of resentment from previous arrivals and people born here versus recent arrivals, the current policy settings of the Labor government, and honestly the Liberals are no better, are exactly the way that you would do that.
So we're going to fight on this.
Okay.
Because you would have seen these images of the protest over the weekend.
Yeah.
So obviously Julian Assange, I don't care that it's Julian Assange either way, but I care about this.
Yep.
This is the supreme leader of Iran. And this man is holding up this poster.
Yep.
This is a man who is a terrorist. He is a human rights abuser. He kills women.
Yep.
He is oppressing his own nation.
Yep.
And he funds all of these sleeper cells around the world.
Yep.
I have a real issue with this. And I also have a real issue with the fact, I'm trying to find the photos, there are people holding up the flags of the Taliban. There are people holding up the flags of ISIS. And these are the people we are currently enticing to Australia.
Yeah.
Now, I am going to say I believe in immigration. Sure, I can get around that. I do not believe in mass migration, particularly when we haven't got our own ducks in a row. At the moment, we have got a drug crisis. We've got a homelessness crisis. We've got a residential crisis. And what I mean by that is Australian citizens are having a really tough time getting into the housing market. They've got issues with drug use. They need help with that. And it's nothing like California, obviously, but it is a big issue. We've also got young people who are de-incentivized to, go and get a job. They're things that we should probably be paying attention to. That's where the government should be setting their time. But instead, we're going, hey, 5,000 immigrants come over from Gaza because, okay, I believe in human rights. I've said that. But I do not think I am being racist in saying that we need to take care of Australians first. Yeah. And when that's good, sure.
But it'll never be good because governments can't actually deliver good outcomes. It just isn't. It's inherently impossible. And there's lots of reasons for that. You can read my books if you want to go deeper into that. But government cannot produce good outcomes. The only time a government can do something good is when it gets out of the way and lets markets, imperfect though they are, solve their own problems and figure out their own mistakes. So what we've got is a situation, what you said is not wrong. We haven't got our ducks in a row. Correct.
Hang on a second. Sorry. I just thought of this little detail. I didn't see this before. Is that Marine Farquhar or
Marina, yeah.
Faruqi, sorry. So she's the senator for the Greens.
Yes.
She's in the federal parliament.
Yep.
And she's standing right next to this bloke.
Yep.
Fuck right off. That's it. That sent me. That has sent me.
But this has sent the Greens into a civil war because they've actually started losing members, including some elected members at council levels, etc., who came from Iran. They fled as a result of the Ayatollah Khomeini and that whole regime coming to power. What's really interesting is we've got this protest marching across the Sydney Harbour Bridge holding up his image. Now, granted, that is not representative of the attitudes and beliefs of everyone in the crowd. In fact, probably not even a majority of the crowd. But nevertheless, they were able to march and hold that up near the front of the march, and they continued to do that for the entire time. But there are protests right now in Iran against that very man.
Yeah.
And against his human rights abuses, his murder of women, his oppression and repression of anyone who doesn't match his particular Islamic ideology. Let's not forget, not only is it a Muslim country, but it is a particular sect of Islam that oppresses the other sects of Islam, as well as Christians, atheists, etc. And in fact, there is some reason to believe, and this is not a prediction, but the scale and the consistency of the protests that are happening in Iran right now, which I can't help but notice have not been well covered by the mainstream media, is such that it's not impossible that the Iranian regime could get toppled in the not too distant future. And I have to wonder how photographs like that one are going to age if the supreme leader of Iran actually does get toppled,
Yeah.
and their own people, the Iranian people, celebrate the fall of the Ayatollah,
Yeah.
then how about these people marching in front of the Ayatollah's image over the Sydney Harbour Bridge? How well is that gonna age? Not well, I would suggest.
I've said this on previous podcasts where I'm like, this is going to start a race war. And I do think, like, I'm not saying civil war, but this is going to destabilize normal communities because I see shit like this. I just found a photo. This is the flag of the Taliban. It's not one, guys. How many? I can count like 5 in that picture.
Yeah.
That's just one segment. And there's there's another one there. This is an ideology that we're importing, and it's radicalizing Australians. I have a real issue with this. I think, and I'm sounding like Pauline Hanson from 20 years ago. Stop importing people. Just close the borders for a second and let us get a handle on things. It's wrong. This is so wrong. We need to build more houses. We've let in, 2 million people over the last couple of years? We cannot handle it as it is. We're overtaxed. And we're not building enough infrastructure to keep up with our own citizens, let alone all these people we're bringing in. And we're importing people who hate us. And so I saw a comment this morning, and I know I'm sort of jumping over, but I think it all relates to what's happening. We're down the river from the UK, and the UK is now seeing a lot of uprising from the UK nationals. And this morning I saw this article, and I meant to save it, and then my computer crashed. And it was an Indian, is it a Sikh when they wear the turban? A Sikh? And he's like a 3rd generation UK citizen. His family fled India because of what was happening near the Pakistan border. They all fled.
Where they were being oppressed by Muslims.
And they all escaped and came to the UK and they assimilated. And they've been part of the UK for the last couple of generations.
Someone's got to run the 7-Eleven.
Well, and the UK has a big Indian influence for years anyway. Like I remember movies from the 90s. They were always like going to the local curry house and stuff.
Let's not forget that the UK ran India for decades. So
a lot of its wealth and gold comes from India.
Turnabout is fair play, I believe.
Well, isn't it like most of the joke is that most of the crown jewels came from India anyway?
Well, yeah, and that's how come the pyramids are in Egypt?
Yeah, because the Britain couldn't steal them.
Yeah, they were too big to fit in the museum.
And this is the thing, and this is where you got to dance that really careful line because I'm not racist. I'll be told I'm racist for this point of view. But we let in people who came here and went, I want to go to Australia. We did it in the 50s and the 60s when all the Greeks came over and all the Italians. They were like, we need a better life. We're going to come here. We'll bring the best parts of our culture, our food and all of that stuff. Fantastic. Sorry.
That's right.
We're not talking about that anymore. And they did. And we had these little pockets of Melbourne. This is the Melbourne I remember. And this is the Melbourne I'm going to go to the grave with. We had these little enclaves and New York was much the same where that was where all the Greeks settled. All the Vietnamese were there. All the Italians were there. Lygon Street was amazing. You go down to Oakley, food was amazing. And they had their like communities and their settlement. Nothing fucking wrong with that. Awesome. And I love that. What I don't love is we're importing all these people because it's just like laissez-faire, come across, come into Australia, here's our handouts, here's our government housing. Like, was it Jacinta Allen handing the keys to that lady? Here's your free house.
So that you can live near your kids and your grandkids.
But so fuck Australians.
So you have kids in Australia. Okay, so they could be helping you out instead of taxpayers. So there's a lot to what you've just said. I'm going to come back to the issue of the ISIS flags on the bridge and all of that at the end of this. But let me put in place...
Calm me down.
well, not necessarily. Every single one of those waves of immigration that happened, including, by the way, the Chinese that came here in the gold rush, yes, the Italians and the Greeks post-World War II, and various other parts of Europe as well. The Vietnamese during and after the Vietnam War, that influx of migrants. And now with the Sudanese, every single one of those waves of immigration was met with hysteria in the media about crime waves and youth gangs and assimilation and integration and everything else. All those people that you point to now and say, oh, they're a wonderful part of this beautiful melting pot that we call Melbourne. That's the Melbourne that I remember and I romanticize. At some point in time, there was someone screaming bloody murder about their arrival. All right, so we do have to keep that in mind. I will say this is a little bit different now, where this is not, they're not trying to preserve their own culture. They're not being arrogant about, Greece is better than Italy, blah, blah, blah. This is murderous ideology that is being celebrated and represented on the streets of Melbourne. This, in my opinion, is a very easy problem to fix. But Australians aren't willing to take the medicine.
Which is?
That medicine is a complete end to all welfare. You end all the welfare for everybody across the board. Welfare over. Half these people will be on a plane out of here within a month.
Yeah.
Right? And the worst half, the ones that we don't want, they will export themselves. But Australians are not willing to take that medicine. We've talked about this before. You can either have a generous immigration policy or you can have welfare. You can't have both. Now, in my opinion, we should abolish welfare and allow anyone that wants to work their ass off to come to Australia.
Look, that sounds great in theory. How do you apply it? You can't.
It's not going to happen.
But I have a real issue. Like the 5,000 Gazans that we're taking in, I think that was the statement, right? Which Gazans? Have we vetted them? Do we know who they are? Are they Hamas? Are they Muslim clerics who want to push Sharia? I don't know. Who are they?
How about first and foremost, we go back and invite in the families of every single Afghani translator and sympathiser who worked with Allied forces while we were over there fighting the Taliban. How about we go and rescue those people first?
But this is the thing that annoys me. I know the Greens do this again, and I forget the collective term for it, but it's like the liberal tears thing, right? When liberal people speak on behalf of the minorities.
Yeah.
Like the Indian Sheikh man that I was just talking about.
The white saviour syndrome.
Yeah, the white saviour. Yeah. Sorry, that was what I was thinking of. We've got Afghani refugees who came over here early 2000s who are like, please stop. This is not what we want. Like, I got to keep saving these clips. I keep saying that. There was an Afghani man who came over here, like literally fled with like the clothes on their back, and they've built a home for themselves. He's like, I don't want to be pulled into this. I want to be Australian. I want to be here. I don't want to be wearing like the flags of the Taliban. Yeah. And he's like, this terrifies me. Yeah. We fled this. It's the same with the Syrians, the Christian Syrians who came here. They fled ISIS and they want to be here, and I want them to be here, and I want them to contribute. I have no issue with that. But at this, when I see these protests, and I don't give a fuck about the Israel-Palestine thing, that's out of the question for this. What I'm looking at is a mix of Australians and immigrants who are holding up the sentiments of murderous regimes around the world and saying it's a good thing. Yeah. This needed to, however many people you said were on that bridge. Let's say it was 100, 300, whatever.
Well, the official number was 90,000. There's others trying to argue that it's more. I haven't looked, but yeah.
Well, it's irrelevant to me. You've got a sitting senator standing next to the photo of that man. Julian Assange, I don't care about. You got the flags of the Taliban. Why weren't people pulling that? No, you can't show that flag.
You can't have that. And that I think is a huge mistake on the part of the people marching. So when I was involved in the protests against lockdowns here in Melbourne, I was actively encouraging people to not be waving around signs about, jail the pedophile politicians and this sort of stuff. Let's get on message, end the lockdowns, set us free, sack Dan Andrews. That's our message, and let's get on that message and let's stay there. And I did a slow chat about that. And a lot of other people, as a result of that slow chat, started talking to then the people who are holding the signs. And by and large, we cleaned up the message pretty well. Now, that's not to say that the message was factually inaccurate in that case. I think there's a lot of issues in that way. But from a messaging point of view, in terms of being effective as a protest movement, that wasn't a message we wanted to include. In addition, I have on record, because I was live streaming at the time, 2 times when I intervened to stop a hothead from doing something stupid. In both cases, that something stupid was directed at police officers. So myself and many other good people in those protests were policing our own and making sure that they played within the boundaries, right?
That's why I got really mad when that guy was marching through the gallows.
Yeah. So, and then also we saw recently there was a march that was organised by Nick Patterson and covered by Avi Yemeni from Rebel News. Now, this was in response to when a large number of Muslims had encircled St. Patrick's Cathedral and had done their various sort of chants and so forth. And the response then was they organised a march of their own, which I wasn't at, but I saw video footage of it. And again, they were self-policing. They were going in, finding the people who are known neo-Nazis and white nationalists and all those
Davis
people
and
kicking them out of the march, saying, no, you don't belong here. Yeah. Right? What we didn't see from the March on the Bridge was any sort of self-policing, any line being drawn that says, hey, we're about peace, not about terrorism. Yeah. So we're going to stand up for our view of what's happening in Gaza and our view of how that needs to be resolved, but we're not going to be allied with murderous regimes and with terrorist groups in the process. That self-policing never happened.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks volumes.
We see things like this, and this just boils my blood. Like, I'm just so angry. I'm just so angry about it. Like, this is Australia. If you don't like it, then don't be here. Like, it's that simple. Yep. You know, I sound like I'm becoming radicalized. I'm a nationalist.
You are Pauline Hanson now.
Yeah, I love my country. I love what we represent. And why does the pendulum have to swing so violently from one side to the other?
Yeah.
Why can't we find a common ground? I believe we should definitely take in people who are suffering in war-torn countries. I am pro that. But this shit, burning our fucking flag after everything that this country gives you, this is so wrong. It makes me so fucking mad.
So the incentives are completely wrong. And what we need to do is completely put an end to all welfare across the board for everybody. And this will be good for the country. Lots of people will wail and moan and whinge and bitch. And yes, we will need charities to step up because there are people that do need help. I acknowledge that. And I don't want them to go hungry or unsheltered or unclothed or anything like that. But we need charity to do that, not government. Secondly, we need to actually enforce our laws. And any time somebody who isn't an Australian citizen is found guilty of any meaningful crime, then as soon as their sentence is done, they're on a one-way ticket out. They will never be given entry again under any circumstances to Australia. And screw whatever their family says, screw whatever consequences they face if they go back, screw any of that. You came here and you committed a significant, serious crime. I'm not talking petty stuff. I'm talking the guys that are running around with machetes or breaking and entering or stealing cars. Right? I'm talking about them. If we just do those two things, all of a sudden, all of these problems will disappear. And if we don't do those two things, we're going to get to where we're going, which is an actual race war.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people angry, right? And justifiably so when you look at the disrespect. There's a lot of people angry. They're looking at the authorities and saying, you're not doing anything about this, so I'm going to do something myself.
And that's my concern.
And we're very close to that point.
And that's my concern. And it's happening in the UK. And again, I talked about the pendulum swinging so violently. I don't want this to be a white nationalist country either.
No.
I want us to be able to help people and support our own. Why can't we do both?
Yeah.
Why does everything have to get to a point of extreme rhetoric?
And this is going to be the backlash against the wokeism and against all of the bleeding heart leftism that said that these people are going to integrate and it's going to be perfect and there's going to be no problems and we're not allowed to observe that there is a problem. We're not allowed to notice that.
Yeah.
And now, of course, reality catches up. And,
Well,
and the
you're not
backlash
allowed
is
to
gonna
call out the... I keep saying the word gaslighting because it is gaslighting. I got told off for using that word. It is gaslighting because you're telling us to not see what we're seeing.
Yeah. People like yourself who have been victims of actual crime from the very people that we're talking about are being told off for talking about your actual lived experience as a victim of crime.
Yeah. And you're being told that, you're being racist to say that. Well, no. There is an African gang problem. Why can't we call it what it is? Even local leaders like Jerry, what's his surname?
Jerry.
Is he still in Australia? Did he go back?
No, I believe he was out of Australia for a while, but I saw something from him not long ago that made me think he was back, but I'm not 100% sure.
I know he got married.
Jerry Huey. I can't think of his name.
I couldn't. I was like...
He was in Battleground Melbourne.
Yeah. And Jerry spoke up a lot at the protests. He's Sudanese.
Yep.
And he was calling out the Sudanese crime.
Yep.
And Sudan is two different countries that have been embroiled in civil war for decades.
Classic case of the English having come in. The same thing happened in the Middle East and drawn lines in places that were politically convenient for them, forcing people who hate each other and have rivalries going back thousands of years to have to try and coexist. And it's just not working. Yeah.
And so we're importing a lot of that.
Yeah. So, but this is also really important to re-say, and we've talked about this before, multiple things can be true at once.
Yeah.
It is true that the vast majority of Sudanese migrants cause no trouble at all.
Yes.
It is also true that Sudanese migrants are responsible for an enormous amount of crime.
Yes.
Both of those things are true.
Yeah.
And if you refuse to acknowledge the crime problem, then I'm sorry, you lose legitimacy on the other side. People lose sympathy for the ones that aren't the problem.
And that's why you get the blanket statements
Correct.
like all Sudanese and all Syrians and all Afghanis.
Which is not true.
Yes.
But if you won't acknowledge that there is a problem with some of them, then sorry, you lose your ability to counter that.
And that's what makes it so frustrating because, again, like I say, the pendulum's swinging so violently.
Yeah.
And to the point we end up with things like this. Now, it's a little bit of a tangent, but same kind of deal.
Tangent time.
So, because I'm getting too angry.
Okay. All right.
So, a local council, it's the Dubbo Council, has sparked outrage over a controversial Australia Day change that 87% of the locals are against. Talk about democracy in action.
So hang on. So this is the Dubbo City Council. This is a little bit like when we saw, was it Marybeck Council or whatever, doing resolutions about the war in Gaza. Mm-hmm. It's like, sorry guys, that's got nothing to do with you.
Your job is trash and cleaning up the sidewalks And that's about it.
And mowing grass in the local parks. Like do a good job of that. Quit with these overseas trips. Don't do any more public artwork projects, and cut rates. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, and rightfully so, the locals are really pissed off. So they're basically moving their Australia Day ceremonies to January 25th. So one day. But my point is, a poll of the locals said 87% said no.
You know what I would love?
What's that?
That 13% that apparently supported it or had no opinion. The other people that aren't in that 87%. I would love for them to be polled and for them to answer without looking it up. What are we celebrating when we celebrate the 26th of January? What is it that Australia Day, why was the 26th of January picked? I guarantee you 95% of those people will get it wrong. They don't even know what Australia Day, leave it in the comments. If you know what Australia Day, actually don't look it up. Don't you dare. Yeah, okay, fine. I can't stop you if you do. But don't you dare.
Well, most people think that's the day Captain Cook arrived, which it's not.
Right. I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm going to confirm you're correct. It is not that.
But of course, the local councillor is an Aboriginal woman. So democracy be damned. But that's the frustration. That's where we're at. Now it's like the DEI, the woke stuff has been pushed to the forefront at the cost of the majority who didn't want it.
Well, this is the same as The Voice in Victoria. How much have they spent now? $300 million on consultants towards a Victorian voice after even Victoria rejected the Voice referendum when that came around. They are literally just ignoring the will of the people at this point in time.
Well, we're going to go into our next segment, which is like just as full of fun as this one. This is an article I just saw.
This is the rage episode, is it?
Yeah. This is an article I saw. I don't know why we have such a large Skims underwear ad there, but
that's quite something.
Yeah. So civilization collapse now inevitable after chilling patterns in past empires are uncovered. The collapse of human civilization is now inevitable, according to Dr. Luke Kemp of the University of Cambridge, as he has exposed clear and alarming patterns of inequality, environmental damage, reckless leadership, and fragile systems that led to ancient collapse in the modern world.
I'm not hearing a word you're saying. What the heck is going on with women's underwear? What am I looking? No, you know what? Don't. No. Back to the article. Back to the article. No,
sorry,
I regret my decision. I've made a poor life decision. I'm sorry.
We're here. So Kim Kardashian, her company Skims, she has released
I'm sorry, everyone. I really am. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. She has released a new collection called Fits Everybody. And this has sent everyone into a meltdown because now we're all just like, fits everyone? What does that fit? So this is called...
Oh, okay. We're getting censored now.
No. So this is called the micro thong.
I thought you said it wasn't OnlyFans.
No, this is called a micro thong. And I want you to read... You can't read this.
I cannot, no.
Fits everybody, this micro thong, and you can get it in every colour. But what's even better in this collection is, aside from the thong, Kim Kardashian has released a product. Now I'm going to have to scroll to find it. It's called shapewear for your jaw. Have you seen this?
As in for your jaw on your face?
For your head.
No, I have not.
For your skull.
As if I would have come across this of my own volition.
Do you ever open X?
Clearly, I don't follow the same accounts you do.
Oh, God, now I'm going to have to find it. But essentially, Anthony Hopkins, I've got to find this now. I'm going to live Google because it's just too good. So Anthony Hopkins, he came out.
As in the Silence of the Lambs guy. Okay, this is just getting... So we've got Kim Kardashian, Anthony Hopkins, the most ridiculous, like basically ladies' underwear made out of rubber bands, and shapewear for your jaw. This is a time... You could not write a movie out of this.
What I don't understand is, was this an ad? Or was it like, did he just do this on his own? It has to be an ad because if it is, it's brilliant. I fucking love Anthony Hopkins, can I tell you? So this is it.
I'm already feeling 10 years younger. Goodbye.
So it's literally this thing.
Officially upgraded the face shaper game because look at this. My favorite part is how this goes around your neck because the other ones slip off so easily and the fabric is infused with collagen. Shout out to Skims for giving me this snatched jawline. See what this hair...
Do you know what you're looking at right now?
Is this real life?
Yes, this is an era of this is literally the shit I have been looking at.
Dear Lord Jesus, please make that meteorite hurry up. We are done here.
Okay, so
we are done.
I'm trying not to say the M word because we got told between Venezuela and Masters, we bring it up every podcast. But this is the kind of stuff I've been looking at. So this is now called a bedtime. This is the ultimate tangent. Bedtime routines. So women are going to bed with a bonnet with these like things around their jaws. She's got what around her lips. It's you can see that there. That's like a stain. So you sleep with a stain. Her face is all glossy because she's got like 7 layers of face mask. It's called what's it called? I've lost it. But yeah, this is morning routines.
Who has the time and who has the money? Like, this is the height of first world problem privilege.
So that's what people are going to bed with. This is their first ever innovation infused with collagen in the yarns, because that's going to do anything.
Listen. That would be challenging to make love to. I'm not going to lie. I like that. That adds an extra layer of difficulty.
Like, if women want to know why they're single and can't find men, maybe it's because you're doing this shit.
So how is that meant to help your jaw?
Oh, so it's meant to like keep everything snatched.
Is that what she said? I thank shout out for this snatched jawline. Is that what we're not even speaking English. We're using English words. We're not even speaking English anymore. I am officially 43 years old, going on 90, and I want off this planet.
Yeah. Well, do you know what I've called this episode? Honestly, just shoot us into the sun.
Well, I think you've named it very well, actually. I think that's a yes. Can we please leave?
So that's the name of it. But okay, so we've talked about Anthony Albanese. How did we get to that tangent?
Anthony Albanese.
Civilization. So
Civilization collapse.
So back to my article.
Yes.
Anyway, so ignore the underwear.
Yes, the very distracting, which won't, yeah, there we go. It's off the screen. Thank you.
Okay, so basically he's identified the problem that civilization is collapsing.
Right.
But of course he's attributed it to Putin, Trump and Xi Jinping. So he's saying, where's his quote? It was down here. Basically, it's not as simple as greed dividing the fall, he said, but it's a small number of individuals exhibiting the dark triad of narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. So these toxic traits found in past ruling classes are now surfacing in global leadership. Kemp named Donald Trump as the narcissist, but of course, Vladimir Putin as the psychopath, and Xi Jinping as the Machiavellian, claiming the most powerful leaders on earth now embody the vast traits that historically trigger collapse.
I mean, how very neat. Tie that up in a little bow. We've got 3 people, each of them representing one of the 3 in the dark triad. Like, oh, how perfect. He'll probably get a pay rise and a doctoral degree out of that.
Well, so it's just funny, but this is now making mainstream now. He's talking, of course, that we have nuclear weapons and, that's the end of humanity. But he does identify something that is a problem here. And I had this problem because I was away from the internet for 24 hours and I thought my life was falling apart. First world problems, I know. But we are very dependent on fragile global supply chains. We saw that in COVID. When they collapse, everything falls to shit. So there are some things in his... Okay,
can we just go back a sec? You were away from the internet for 24 hours and you felt like your life was falling apart.
Yeah.
Is that because your real life is falling apart? Because normally when you go to the internet, that's when you feel like your life is falling apart.
No, because of the way that we're being conditioned, everything's up on clouds. I couldn't access anything.
See. All right, so...
I couldn't move money into a bank account. It was very annoying.
So there's a degree of truth to this idea of the fragile global supply chain, blah, blah. Yes, from an electronics point of view, if we were hit by a Carrington event, I've talked about that before, some massive geomagnetic storm, then we'd be in some pretty serious trouble. But what I don't think people give enough emphasis to or allow enough for is the robustness of humans and our ability to adapt and find a way and improvise. Do you remember a little while ago there was this big scare campaign about how Australia was running out of AdBlue? Now, AdBlue is an additive that diesel vehicles need to use for emissions purposes. Trucks have to have it, otherwise the ECU won't allow the truck to turn on.
No, missed that one.
There were people literally running around, and sort of the black pill end of the movement, running around trying to say that pretty soon there's going to be starvation everywhere. The trucks are going to stop. Won't be able to get food from the farms to the supermarket shelves. Blah blah blah. And I refused to buy into the nonsense. Number one, I didn't believe for a moment that we were actually going to run out because obviously the market does its thing. The market finds a way. There's too much money at stake. If those trucks stop, too many people lose too much money.
Yeah.
They'll find a way to get the AdBlue in. Secondly, if push really comes to shove, those truck drivers are going to go and flash their ECUs so that the truck will run whether there's AdBlue or not, right? And put water in there, put whatever in there so it's got something in there so that it triggers the sensor so that it will allow it to work. Overwrite the ECU, do whatever you've got to do. Why? Well, because the truck driver's in debt X amount of money for that prime mover that every minute that's sitting still, they're losing money. Third, do you really think that any self-respecting truck driver is going to sit there with a rig not moving for a lack of AdBlue when there are people dying of malnutrition in Melbourne and there's food sitting at the farmer over here? No, of course they're not. No self-respecting
Has no one
human
ever
will.
heard of like convoys and utes and, you'd find a way.
So the idea that, we're just, if one thing breaks, the whole thing stops. No, it doesn't. Can we just have a little more faith in our fellow human beings, in our robustness, there are a lot of good people out there who will move heaven and earth to do what's necessary.
We do see that when there's a natural disaster, whether it's the floods or the fires, everyone gets together. And that's the side of Australia that I love.
Yeah.
Aside from Celeste Barber putting $50 million into a trust, but the other side, do you need us to cook for you? Do you need clothes? I do think I always say this, most humans are fundamentally pretty good. Yeah. And if your house is burning down, are you really going to sit there and go, hang on, did you vote for Trump?
Yeah, that's right.
I know that there'll be some, there's always exceptions.
There'll be a few people. So can we go back to the Xi Jinping, Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. Politics is downstream of culture. If you can point to those individuals and say, those individuals are going to destroy the world, it's because our culture has allowed those individuals to get there. Yeah. Now, I happen to disagree with his assessment. I don't think those individuals are going to destroy the world at all. However, even if his assessment were true, that is downstream. You've already, by the time those people have reached the top, you've already got a much more fundamental problem within the culture. So let's have a look at that and let's address that. Oh, funny, sexual revolution, 1960s, the embrace of the long walk through the long march through the institutions, the embrace of centralized power. How can 3 people threaten the entirety of humanity and civilization? Maybe because we as a culture have accepted the idea of centralizing all of the power into a handful of people. The centralization of power is the number one threat to freedom and to humanity and to our future. And if you're sitting there saying these 3 people are a threat to humanity, well, sorry, you've just de facto conceded the point that centralization of power is the underlying problem here.
You just brought up a point, and this is the tangent. So...
Tangent time, tangent time, tangent time, tangent time.
There it is. So that reel I played before, I said I had one comment that was, like from Soy Boy.
Sure.
So I want to read you his comment because it's interesting, and this is...
Hey, Soy Boy, you're famous.
His name's Robbie Swan. He's got to be American. And, of course, when you go look at the profile, it's exactly what you think. But... the reason I call out his comment is because I've had a lot of people saying, why would you bother going back to uni? Unis are all corrupt, yada, yada, yada. You're right.
Yeah.
So that's why we should go back into them.
Yeah.
We should take them back over. That's why I'm writing academic papers, because I am not left-leaning.
Yeah.
That is my entire point. But I bring this up. So this is his response to that reel of mine we just watched. Your research sounds biased. Wokeness, cancel culture, and purity tests are terms used by the extreme right wing to challenge calls for social justice and equality. Read books and stop doing your own research because you're clearly not good at it. Actual scientists have warned and left the US because of the very real threat of fascism. If showing diverse bodies in ads kills your motivation, then there's something wrong with the way you're conditioned. And there's so many things going on there.
Can I just make a prediction here?
Yeah.
That this lovely soy boy of ours does not have a snatch jawline.
He does not. Do you want to see his face?
Sure. I'm pretty sure I already know what he looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
weedy looking soy boy.
If a hipster, I don't know, bred with Gollum. Yeah.
He looks like someone that works in a Fitzroy coffee house cafe.
I used to work in a Fitzroy coffee shop.
I'm just saying.
I was a barista.
If the shoe fits, mate.
I was good. I made good coffee. People came to my coffee shop.
To be fair, I will say this. I hate defending the North, but God, they do have good food.
Good coffee. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give them that.
If you know where to go. It's not universal, but if you know where to go.
Collingwood does have some pretty good places.
Yeah.
So
sorry about that.
This is my reply because, of course, I can't help myself. I'll entertain this for a moment. Your knee-jerk dismissal of my intelligence because you dislike my conclusion doesn't make you the intellectual authority here. The irony is you accuse me of bias while only entertaining research that fits your worldview. Science by nature is consistently being challenged and reevaluated, and much of the science you're referring to is shaped by whoever funds it. Academics aren't the sole gatekeepers of truth, and the US isn't the epicenter of all world knowledge. There is a wider world beyond your echo chamber, one which is one where legitimate large-scale research exists that supports my position. You can disagree with me, but condescension and ideological certainty aren't a substitute for critical thought. And since you're so enamored with calling out fascism, do communism next. And of course,
like it.
No reply.
I like this version of Carly. Season. What are we up to now? Like season 4 of Carlz is good. I like season 4 of Carlz.
This is my wanky academic era.
Yeah, excellent.
But this is my point. Like, it's one thing to say, yeah, these academic institutions are absolutely co-opted by the left.
Yeah.
So get back in them.
Yeah.
Take them back over. That's what I'm doing. And I have had definitely some moments of pushback. And I did tell you about the super woke one. But her and I get along like a house on fire.
Yeah, okay.
Even though, like, her project is about things that I'm like, this makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
I get along with her well.
Okay.
And, and she was like, your project is fascinating and I'm
right.
really enjoying your research.
Yeah, right.
So I'm making a point of not tipping, like, deliberately treading on toes, but I'm also not being, politically charged with it.
Yeah.
I'm really going, here's something to think about.
Yeah, you're letting it speak for itself.
Draw your own conclusions, you know?
Very good.
But so I just find it really interesting. So guys, if you want to get into stuff, like, go where the lefties hang out and take it back.
Yep. And this is where people come to me saying, oh, we need to do this. And someone else says, oh no, we need to do this thing. And then they have a big fight over who's right and who's wrong. I'm like, you go do the thing you said we need to do. You go do the thing you said we need to do.
Yeah.
Just if everyone whatever the thing that you're passionate about is, whatever the thing that really lights a fire under your belly. Because I could, let's say hypothetically, if I had the influence, I could form a plan and tell everybody and convince everybody that we have to do my plan.
Yes.
But if I end up with a whole bunch of people that aren't passionate, they're not really convinced that it'll work. They've just been brought around to, okay, fine, I'll back your thing. Well, it's not going to go very far. It's not going to last very long.
Yeah.
We're far better off with each person pursuing the thing that they're passionate about and that they actually believe in is going to make some sort of a difference. And then over time, as some people start to make progress, other people will go, oh, hey, that's working. And they'll get excited to then go in there and say, hey, we're going to push you further ahead, or we're going to push this idea further ahead, rather than, having just sitting there while no one's doing anything, having a big argument about what we should do.
And not only that, like, if you're good at it too. So that was the one thing I said to myself when I was going to go back to uni. I am going to be so undeniably good they can't ignore me.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I was going to go in there with opinions that wouldn't be popular.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they're like...
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying this to brag, like, I've got a HD for every single assignment because that was my point.
She is saying it to brag, but honestly, she got an HD for everything. She can brag.
Yeah, like, but my point is, I was like, if I had gone in there and been a bit mediocre and sort of rocked up, maybe not rocked up, kind of being a bit, then they'd be like, oh, typical.
Yeah.
But no, you go in there, you become a really good student. They're like, well, shit.
Yeah, I don't like her politics, but I can't argue with the result. Yeah.
Exactly. But anyway, let's have a palate cleanse.
Oh, excellent.
You
Please
sent this to me, so let's watch.
Ah, yes. So, okay. Language warning. This is an Aussie Reviews video, which I thought was very funny. But yeah, language warning.
All right.
This fruitcake wants to impress a truck driver. He rips a burnout like he's announcing a baby's gender and whips around beautifully in time for the cops. Yeah, now these moments are what us common folk live for. My stiffy's activated. Is he trying to get away? Look, it is possible to show off your expensive toys without being a cockface. This guy is nailing it. Whack a tow bar on your Lambo and off you go. You can transport your hay. Wait, back the fuck up. Are those goats? These are the most badass goats I've ever seen. Cruising in a trailer attached to a Lamborghini. Actual bloody goats. I think I can die happy now. This video has made me happy for some reason.
So there's so many things to love, but can I just point out how high that toe ball from the Lamborghini had to go, and the trailer was still angled down?
Was that a Mercy or was that a Gelato? I think it was a...
I don't know my Lambos well enough.
I think, I don't want to get this wrong, I think it was a Mercy, but if it was a Gelato, I was like, well, they're gay anyway, so...
Well, my expectation would be that it's probably a Gelato, but I actually can't tell. And
I'm pretty sure it's a Mercy, actually.
to me, they're so visually similar, the Lambos, I can't tell.
The Gallardo or the Gelato, as they call it, had a really stupid rear end. And it's similar to that, but so is the Mercy. I'm going to say it's a Mercy.
Okay.
If I'm wrong,
I'm going
let
to
me know
take
in
your
the
word for it
comments.
because, I don't know.
But palate cleanse.
Look, it's still a Lambo. Like, here are we like, oh, is it the right Lambo? No, he's towing a trailer with goats and hay in a Lambo.
The Gelato is like a Camry.
Hey, you've said to me before that you want a Audi R8 with the V10, right?
Yeah.
That was you that said that?
Yeah.
Well, that is a derivation of the Lamborghini V10. So
Yeah, but that's the Murcielago, which is a cool car. It's not the Gallardo.
Well, listen, I didn't realize that you were in such a lofty position in your life to be drawing such distinctions. I mean, on the way here, I did see a Ferrari, I think it was the 348 open top, Targa top thing. Beautiful, beautiful car. Original, all looked lovely. And hey, you could look down on a 348. Oh, it's not a whatever you want, but it's still a Ferrari. It's a good little Ferrari.
Do you know who has owned a Ferrari?
Who's owned a Ferrari?
My bloody boyfriend. He literally said he was going to buy a Ferrari for his 30th, and he had a Ferrari for his 30th.
I was going to say fuck him, but you do, so maybe that's probably not quite that's not quite the right.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I can't remember what model it was. It was from the 70s, but he had it, and he said it was a cool looking car. He just did not like it.
Yeah. So I've known people that have driven a couple of Ferraris, and they've gotten them from rental companies and that sort of stuff, and often just come back like, no thanks.
Well,
like, great little weekend car, but there's so many little niggles and little issues with them and ergonomic stuff. I organised for my wife to test drive a Maserati.
Oh, yeah?
It was actually part of my
Some of them
proposal
are
day.
absolute dumps.
So this was a Maserati Gran Turismo, the Gran, whatever it is, the two-door, and horrible thing.
Yeah.
Horrible. She couldn't get out of it fast enough. She hated it. The ergonomics were weird. She couldn't reach the indicator stalks with her hands. She had to take her hand off the steering wheel and reach behind the steering wheel to just activate basic controls. I was situated in the rear seat. It was hilarious because it's a little rear perch. We had the roof down, and I'm looking over the top of the windscreen, the top bar of the windscreen. I'm looking over the top of it, like all the bugs are just making beelines for my eyes. It was the most hilarious thing, and also the salesperson was the most painful sales experience of my life. I kid you not. He didn't know what to do. He didn't. Should I tell you the full story?
Yeah, tell us the story.
Okay, I'm mindful of
Hang
time.
on, this is G's. That's G's old Ferrari.
Nice.
Doesn't have anymore.
Yeah, nice. I don't know which one that is, but okay, cool.
But it's Ferrari.
Yeah.
You fucking owned it. Like, that's
nice.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good on him.
Anyway.
All right, so I wanted to propose, and Eddie likes cars. She likes like the sort of the cars driving up and down the boulevard kind of thing. She's not so much a track day girl. She's more of a pretty,
she wants
pretty
to
little
cut
thing
chap
girl.
laps.
Yeah. So
Eddie let's go cut chap laps.
So
but chat laps.
I organise on the day. We rent a CLK 55 AMG, SLK 55 AMG, drop top Mercedes 5.5 litre V8 in the front of it, and we go out to a cafe, and I'm all dressed up. 3-piece suit. I'd organised, so in order for her not to know what I was up to, this is Valentine's Day, by the way. Valentine's Day 2013, 2014. I sprung this on her. And out of nowhere, she did not see it coming. And I'd organised for her to meet a client. So she was all dressed up to meet a client. The client was a friend of mine, and the client call was fake. And as she comes out the front of her house, I'm out there leaning against the SLK 55 AMG, all dressed up, 3-piece suit, rose in my pocket. She was so mad. She was so angry because she was excited about meeting a client. She'd only recently started a business. But I kind of had anticipated that. So I threw the keys to her from a distance. I was kind of like, here, peace offering. Here's the form from the rental company. As soon as you sign that and I send them the photograph, you can drive. So anyway, I survived that. Went out to a coffee shop, and then I explained the plan to her. I'd organised for her, I'd called up as her EA, a high-end car dealership, and said, Miss, her last name, has recently returned from Dubai, which was true. She'd been to Dubai, and she's looking for a car, which was true. She had a terrible car at the time and needed to replace it, and she would like to test drive. And I listed the Maserati and a Ferrari California. Yeah. And so, yes, no problem, blah, blah, blah. Right. So I explained the plan to Edwina. We're going to show up, and I'm going to be her EA.
Yeah.
So I'm in the passenger seat. And actually, no, when we showed up, I was driving, sorry. She was in the passenger seat. But, you know, she can just hand off things to me. So she's got a handbag. She, you know, when she goes to get in the car, she's...
Peasant.
Doesn't even have to look at me. And it's just, you know, bang, I grab... You know, and she loved it. She, of course she did. Like, she loved this
You
moment.
two role-playing. Oh, my goodness.
So we get there, and the salesperson is terrible. He's got no personality. He's got nothing to say, and he's as nervous as hell. Older guy. Like, he wasn't new, I don't think. But I don't know if we'd like psyched them out a little bit with the whole narrative around
Went
who
too hard.
this was or something. And she was dressed up like she looked really nice. And so anyway, we go out in the Maserati. That's the first, because I thought the Ferrari would be the better. So I thought we'll do the Maserati first, and then we'll do the Ferrari, and then thank you very much, and then I'll deal with all the emails and the follow-up calls later, right? So we go out in the Maserati. Terrible car. Horrible ergonomics. I'm perched up on the back seat. The whole thing's a joke. I'm trying not to burst out laughing because it'll ruin the illusion. And the salesperson is trying to think of things to say, and he's like, oh, "The switches feel nice." And then the best one, the one that I will never forget, is there's silence for a little while, and it's painful. It's painful silence. This is not comfortable silence. This is painful silence. And then he goes, "They have to use leather from 11 different cows just for one interior."
You don't hope she's not vegan.
And I'm sitting in the back, trying not to die. We get back to the dealership, and she gets out, and we're all playing our roles, right? She gets out of the car, and she just flat out refuses to test drive the Ferrari. She's like, "No, I'm done," and leaves. And like we both left. And I reckon they're probably still talking about it to this day at the dealership. They're like, the one that got away. Like, far out. She wouldn't even test drive the Ferrari. She was like, no. Because she'd worn a pencil skirt. And she was so annoyed by the car dealer guy.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her. Like, he was just useless. And the whole experience. And I mean, we don't want a Maserati anymore.
Yeah.
We wanted a Maserati up until we actually sat in one.
The Maseratis with the Ferrari engines, they're all right.
This was one of those.
Yeah, was it?
The ergonomics are shocking.
To be honest, like, the more I know people with supercars and get to go in them, and that, which is very nice, the more I'm like, I don't actually want to own many of them because they're just, you know, money sinks. But the most uncomfortable car I've ever been is the McLaren 720S.
Really?
Yeah. Like, fun for like half an hour.
Yeah, right.
But like actually to drive that thing long term,
just too brutal, too uncompromising.
It's so uncomfortable. You're really low.
Yeah.
And they're small cars. Like if you're bigger than 6 foot, you're gonna struggle.
I mean, they're wide for the wide footprint, but the actual the passenger cell is quite small.
where the passenger sits, you're and the wheel arch is there, and you're kind of sort of like contorted.
You're perched in there,
very uncomfortable.
Yeah, right.
But the best car I've ever driven was in the States, and I always, whenever I go there, I always get something fun.
Yeah.
Was the Camaro.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It would have been this was 2017, whatever one that was, but God. And then a Hellcat.
Yeah.
They're very fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, we probably bore people with our car talk.
All right, let's move on.
Okay, so something that we have not talked about that I've had even in our thumbnail, we still are yet to talk about it. Machete Bins. Now,
oh, yes.
this segment, guys, because I had to name the segment, is called The Kids Aren't All Right.
Okay.
Because the kids are not all right.
Okay.
So there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to talk about in this section, but we will get to the Machete Bins. But
will we, though? Because I think we've tried twice and we failed both times.
if you have a look at my tabs, we have many things to get through. So chop. But this is about just the youth in general. And the youth have now made us a name in the States, because when you have Matt Walsh from the Daily Wire talking about our machete crime, like, we've hit international news now.
Let me guess. He's not being complimentary towards Australia.
Oh, he's not. Shall we watch? Now I have to find the bloody clip. This is what happens. All right. So
Australians have had legal access to machetes for centuries without any issue whatsoever. It was only when Australia began importing the third world en masse that machetes suddenly became weapons of mass terror. So let's go back to one of those 500 news reports that I had played at the beginning of the segment and see if you notice anything about the coverage of mall attack number 2.
I feel so scared, like my heartbeat go, because I just quickly go and shut the cafe and tell my other staff, don't go leave.
They just pulled out from their bag, their backpack, and then a long knife like machete, and then they just fighting can't believe it happened.
Shoppers also caught up in the chaos just after 6:30 last night.
We're going into lockdown because someone has a machete.
Now we are under the lockdown procedure. Please shut down the show doors.
Up to 6 boys were involved in the brawl. They all fled before police arrived.
They were in and they were out very, very promptly. I was extremely terrified.
They all were like with the same attire, black and covering the face. Can't recognize who they are.
This comes less than 2 weeks after rival gangs fought inside Northland Shopping Centre. 7 people have been charged over that incident.
It's pretty remarkable. I was shocked watching this, as jaded as I am. You think, yeah, I can't be shocked by this anymore. But when you watch it, if not for the accent of the news reporter, you would never know that it's a news report from Australia. Almost every person interviewed or even just seen on camera is an immigrant. Even the voice over the intercom telling the store owners to go into lockdown is clearly foreign. If you had to guess without any context, if I showed you that video, gave you no context, you couldn't hear the reporter, and I were to ask you to guess what country is this from, you would think it was from India or some other South Asian country.
Yeah, interesting. So what's also interesting, though, let me point out that a number of the immigrants who were interviewed were clearly working, business owners, all that sort of thing. And this is where we need to be more precise than just immigrants are a problem. Well, no. The immigrants that are a problem are a problem.
Yeah.
But there's an enormous number of immigrants that aren't. And that video clip actually does reinforce and prove that point. They're earning their way. They're paying tax. They're doing all the right things. And we need those people because, quite frankly, we ain't breeding. We ain't breeding fast enough. We can criticize how many are coming in. But if you think a growing population is bad, wait till you experience a shrinking one. Trust me, that is a problem that no one in Australia is ready for. So I think the bigger story here is that we are being so mismanaged by Jacinta Allen, and she has failed so hard that they're literally now just poking fun at us on right-wing alternative media in the US.
Yeah, and this is what I mean. Like, I think some of the stuff Matt Walsh does is great, but I also don't agree with him on a lot of stuff.
His movie,
What is a Woman?
No. Well, okay, that was interesting. But the comedy about the basketball team.
Oh yeah. I can't remember. But
Gosh,
yes.
I can't remember the name of it. It was funny. I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah. Look, some of the Daily Wire stuff has been great, but again, I don't have to love everything they do.
Yeah, sure.
You know? But so there's a couple of stories I'm going to take us through. So the first one is this one. This happened 1 or 2 days ago. An exchange student, 13, charged with murder after 14-year-old girl stabbed to death in New South Wales.
Wow.
In Newcastle, I believe. Now, when this story first broke, it was just the fact that a 13-year-old had stabbed a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
And it was only about a day later that they released that they were both actually Chinese exchange students.
Wow. Okay.
So, this is why I'm calling this the kids aren't all right. The exchange student thing aside, why are 13-year-olds stabbing people?
Yeah.
Why are 14-year-olds grabbing machetes and amputating arms? Like, what has happened to our youth?
It's a very small proportion of them. Let's not forget the bigger context here. This is a generation that actually shows a lot of very promising signs. But this is that division. This is that parting of ways that we've talked about before. Some people are coming back to sanity. Some people are fully embracing the madness.
Yeah.
And when you're 14, you don't have a baseline of reality of what normal is. You only know what limited exposure you've had.
But if we let the Greens have their way, they're 2 years away from voting.
Well, correct. And by the way, they're old enough to grab machetes and kill each other, but they'll pretty soon not be old enough to be on mainstream social media. We need to stop saying that they won't be able to be on social media, because they will.
Yeah.
They won't be able to be on mainstream social media. And if you think them encouraging each other and doing their TikTok videos and stuff now is bad, wait until they're off on their own platform.
Well, so this is the thing, right? So I think that's actually worth talking about. We're about to have the social media ban, the under
Age
16.
verification,
Yeah, that's all coming in, December?
December
So
10th.
And the conversation, again, I read the comments. The conversation with a lot of parents, again, it's very superficial. A lot of people saying, oh, this is a great thing. Our kids need this help. Well, you and I will argue, are you not the parent?
Help them.
Yeah,
Yep.
help them.
Yep.
Like, parent them.
Yep.
But again, if these 14-year-olds can go around doing home invasions, stealing cars, robbing people, making porn, because that's another story for you. We'll get to it. And then you say that, but they can't be on social media.
No.
Like, there is a bigger problem here. I don't know where to start. Like, it's a big one to unpack. And I also don't have kids, but I was not doing this at 14, can I tell you?
So can I go back to what I said before? Take away all the welfare.
Yeah.
So the mums and the dads and all the other people, all the welfare's gone. Everyone around them and in their lives has to actually start living a productive life and setting a more positive example for them. Number 2, actually punish crimes. These kids that are running around with machetes, if they're not going to prison, they should be on a plane. And let the bleeding hearts scream.
Yeah.
Let them. That kid, that 14-year-old kid, can go try and be a thug back in Sudan.
Yeah.
See how far they get. See how quickly they wise up. Because you won't have to send many of them. You send a few and get all the big wailing headlines about how you're heartless and cruel and this and that. And the other 14-year-olds are going to start to go, oh, crap, I don't want to go back there. That's actually scary.
Well, interestingly, you would have heard the story of I think he was 14, that shot himself in Seaford. I didn't actually have this pulled up, but so he's a 14-year-old, and I believe it was a 3D printed gun.
Oh, I did. Yes.
So 14-year-old shoots himself, Seaford. The things that live in my mind.
I tell you what, you're going to be on a lot of watch lists because of the stuff that you're Googling these days.
Oh God, I'm just going to say this really quickly, but we'll go into it. I have been talking to ChatGPT about pedophilia, and I'm like, I am absolutely on a watch list now.
No.
Okay, so schoolboy attacker dies after accidental shooting. So a teenager who died after accidentally shooting himself at a Seaford home can be revealed as the accused criminal allegedly involved in violent abduction of a schoolboy who was dragged along a road and left with permanent brain damage. What the fuck is happening to our children? Kiki Utakovic was playing with a homemade gun inside a home in Glen Elvie Street, Melbourne's outer southeast at 4:30 p.m. and when it was fired. He shot himself in the head.
Mm-hmm.
After doing a spate, it's now come out, he's done a whole bunch of carjackings, home invasions, and then he dragged this kid along a road and left him with permanent brain damage.
Have the family come out and said what a nice boy you was yet?
Oh, you better believe that they're being inundated with people saying, it's such a tragedy. Actually, I'm going to go on the record saying, well done.
Yep, well done. Thank you.
Well done. The trash is taking itself out.
Thank you for saving us the paperwork. Honestly, this is why, people say that I'm heartless, and I get why it appears that way if you're a jolly muppet-brained, coddled idiot.
I didn't know what you were going to say then.
Some people need to die.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is true on the road. This is true of criminals. Some criminals need to get killed by their victims. And some criminals need to kill themselves with their own stupidity.
Yep.
And the fact that it's a boy doesn't actually make it more tragic. Well,
Yep.
actually, no, it makes it more tragic in the sense that they were given so little guidance in their life that they were allowed to get to that point. Okay, I can see slightly more tragedy there. But the fact that it's a 14-year-old or a 16-year-old who just took his own trash out, I'm not going to get upset about that.
Sorry, I'm just going to tell you what he actually did. This is in the article. So he was charged alongside other teenagers following a 2023 abduction of a then 14-year-old boy who was walking home from school in Glen Huntly on September 4 when he was attacked. The teen was in a coma for 6 days after he was pulled into a vehicle and dragged for around 150 metres along the road after the car took off as he hung from a passenger door. So at 23, this guy who has now died at 16 would have been 14 himself.
Yeah.
He was then thrown from the vehicle and ran over. He sustained a permanent brain injury because of the attack.
Yep. Thank you for taking yourself
In the
out.
bin.
Yep. And
the bin.
It's the same as there was a sheriff that came out in Texas somewhere, or it might have been Florida, after a homeowner defended themselves and shot and wounded a home invader.
Mm-hmm.
And the sheriff came out and said, look, well done. We wholeheartedly support what you've done. But in future, just for everybody's reference, if you're going to shoot a home invader, please kill them. It's a lot less paperwork. Right? I'm not going to try and find the video. I don't remember what to look for.
Yeah.
But this is the correct attitude.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is the correct attitude.
Honestly, I'm of the belief, pull the warning labels off everything. Oops, you drank some battery acid?
Yep.
Whoopsies.
The world actually needs to become more dangerous, and it especially needs to become more dangerous for criminals.
Yeah.
For anyone that wants to hurt other people, that should be an extremely high-risk endeavor. And all we've done in our society by disarming all of the victims and making the world ever so safe is that we've made it safe for people to hurt other people.
Yeah.
And that is not the kind of world that we should want to live in.
I'll lighten the subject by talking a little bit
I
less
thought that was
about-
hilarious. What do you mean lighten the
No.
subject?
So just on those warnings. So we were down in Rye, that's where Loz lives, and Harold Holt's beach where he drowned.
Yep.
So that's literally the Rye Back Beach, and it's quite a volatile shoreline. Like it's got a really bad current, and you can get ripped out. And Jake, for example, he's a big boy and he's a really good swimmer.
This is Loz's partner.
Yeah. He got dragged out and he had a tumble and he thankfully got pulled in by a surfer. So it's quite a dangerous back beach.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a sign there that says people die here. Be careful. But of course, tourists.
Yeah.
Pretty beach. I'm going to go swim.
Yep.
Like, okay, well, don't get upset. It's like
Yeah.
people who get bitten by a crocodile or killed by a crocodile. You would have seen those videos that go viral every now and then. I can't remember what crossing it is. It's a big one up in I think it's the Northern Territory, or maybe it's in the Kimberley. And
Big concrete causeway. Yeah.
yeah, and like when the water's low enough, you can cross it, but like there's literally crocodiles
There's
going.
crocodiles. Yeah. They're also crossing in the other direction. Yeah.
And like there's all the signs: Crocs beware, Crocs beware.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And as soon as I see red dirt, I think crocodile. I ain't swimming. But you see this young family swimming in the water, and the guy's like, the crocodile's right there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let him.
Yeah, and I'm sorry for the kids, but you were born
Good
into
dinner for the crocodile.
Well, you were born into a stupid family tree.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I would say that the gene pool is better
needs
now.
a bit of chlorine. So there's one more layer to this though, because people say, oh, it's all well and good for you to say that, but if someone goes out swimming, and if someone's out in a boat in a storm or whatever, then someone's got to go and rescue them. Well, then don't.
Yeah.
Like, let's stop sending people out. Now, if someone's found themselves in genuinely unfortunate circumstances, through no real fault of their own, okay. But if people are just being negligent, why are we endangering ourselves to keep negligent people alive?
This just recently happened last week when we had the earthquake in Russia and there was all the tidal wave warnings. And in Hawaii, there was people filming people on the beach and going and filming, and you can see the water receding. Now, thankfully, there wasn't a tsunami. But we've all seen the footage of a tsunami.
Yeah. The water recedes first most of the time.
And if you get taken out, you ain't coming back.
Yeah,
But yet people are like, oh, I'm going to quickly get it for Instagram. Like,
Yeah.
good. Okay, bye.
Yeah, bye. Correct.
See you.
Correct.
See you later.
I don't wish for tragedies, but tragedies happen. And a kid 3D printing a gun and then taking himself out of the gene pool with a weapon, a violent criminal taking himself out with a weapon that he went to a great deal of trouble to create is a win for us all.
That's why I get so frustrated. Remember that story? It was like earlier this year, the 14-year-old who took himself out and his mate driving the car. And there are all these, he was such a
tragedy,
he was an
blah, blah,
innocent
blah.
boy, he got caught up. I'm like,
No, sorry.
Zero sympathy. Sorry, Dal.
No.
But anyway, the story that we keep missing, we need to talk about this ingenious plan by one Jacinta Allen to roll out what can only be described as a charity bin as a machete amnesty safe disposal bin.
Can I just say, thank God we're saved. I mean,
look at these numpties standing around so look, we did a thing, guys. We did a thing.
Have you heard the press conference?
Oh, I don't know if I can.
The video is worse. It's so much worse. These people are so deeply out of touch. So have you ever seen the movie Hot Fuzz?
Yeah.
Right. So you remember the police department, the Metropolitan Police Department, and how useless they were and how political everything was.
Yeah.
These guys feel exactly the same. They feel exactly the same. Simon Pegg absolutely nailed that movie. The characterization, absolutely nailed it. It is skin-crawlingly inane. There's a word, but I can't think of it. It's awful. And these people genuinely have no idea of just how insane they are.
What's even better is that we made 40 of them and that cost us $13 million. Can I just say to whoever the private contractor was that got that, good, well played, sir.
Well played.
Well played.
$300,000+ each.
$325,000 per bin. So for guys who didn't pick up on that joke, obviously that contract would have gone to some private contractor, someone who does steel fabrication. And they're like, hey, we need these bins. Can you give us a quote? And he's like, yeah, 300,000 each.
Boy, can I give you a quote?
And the government went, sounds legit.
Okay.
Tick.
Now, I'm sure that built into it is some sort of an anti-theft thing to make it hard for people to fish them back out. Like there'd be something in there that does that, but gosh, 300.
It's weighed down like by 20 kilos of concrete in the bottom of it.
So let's not forget that $75,000 will buy you a very, very capable ute with an internal combustion engine and all sorts of electronics and all kinds of whiz-bangery. And you could get half a dozen of those for the cost of one of those welded steel boxes.
It literally looks like a charity bin. That's what it looks like.
Do you remember the bins for the bookworm, the book monster?
Yeah.
Right, where you'd recycle your phone books? He's dug a few of those out of the tip, and he's repainted
just showed your age then.
I have, haven't I? Phone books used to exist, kids.
And we used to have a character that used to eat them.
Yeah, correct.
But yeah, so this is just at the state, like, and I kid you not, there are people going, oh, that's a great idea. So there's a couple levels. Okay, the money of these things aside, they're only at 40 different police stations under CCTV. What little bogan fuckface esche criminal is like, all right then.
Yeah, I'll wander up.
I'll go
I'll
there.
toddle along to the police station with my machete.
Oh, take one for the team. Like, what the fuck?
Not to mention, okay, if you're walking towards a police station with a machete in your hand, they're not going to assume you're on your way to the charity bin, right? To donate it to the local Goodwill. They're going to assume you're
it's
going to
even
get
better.
shot.
Hang on. You can't read it. It says, please remove all packaging before placing the machete in the bin. So guys, if you've just used it in crime, no worries. But if you're going to dispose it, please take your packaging off.
Please remove all packaging. Make sure the plastic sleeve that it came in goes in the recycling.
I can't. This is serious.
How is that a concern worthy of being printed on the label of the bin? Who cares?
And even better, it's got the the Victorian government's logo above it. We approve this message.
Yeah. Now, are we just going to say nothing about the fact that you are flashing ladies' undies in my face again? Are we just going to not acknowledge that? Just pretend that's not happening? We've got to find a better way to do our content.
For anyone who thinks that retargeting doesn't work, there is your proof.
Well, there is, because the ad that's alternating with is a fundraising ad for Gaza. So,
even better.
Yeah. They're clearly they know you well.
Better.
They know you well.
Oh, shit. Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness.
I have nothing else to add, do you?
So this is why we're going to be the world's #1
May
podcast
I please have
soon.
some water?
We have machete bins and ladies' underwear in the same segment.
You never know which tangent when we're going to go.
You just, you don't know what you're getting, but you know it's going to be funny.
Oh, I actually can't. I was so, when this came out, thank you so much. I literally saw it and went, sounds about right.
Yeah. It does, though. It does.
Yeah.
Honestly, the non-solutions are par for the course now.
Can I just say, I absolutely got my outfit right. I just don't have any tans. They're the Nike shoes that he's wearing.
Right.
The
Okay, I
Nike
was going to say, I
tans.
don't even know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay.
But yeah, same.
No, you've done well. We should start like an Oddcast merch line.
Yeah, just
that's just
the
it's just
Esche
that.
look.
Yeah.
Did I say this when we started? I am really annoyed that they wear the tech fleece.
Yeah, you mentioned that. So someone walked past me the other day with a T-shirt that had a very large North Face logo. Now, hang on. You know the North Face logo. It's got that three sort of quarter circle lines, one inside the other. And it didn't say the North Face. It said the Potato Face. And it had with it a Mr. Potato Head image with the ears like Daniel Andrews. And
that's sensational.
I have never wanted to stop somebody and be, dude, where did you get that shirt?
That's amazing.
I couldn't in that moment do that for a range of reasons.
If you are that man and you're watching this podcast.
If you know where we can get a Daniel Andrews tribute Mr. Potato Face shirt from. I want that jacket. I want that shirt. I will buy one of everything.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I want to bring up this story. This is the poor man who had his hand amputated.
Yeah.
So he's come out, obviously, talking about banning them sooner.
Yeah.
Now, I understand why he's saying banning it because obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But as we've said, banning it doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
Like,
and attacking people is already illegal. Cutting off people's hands and stealing their phones is already illegal. Making the actual implement illegal is not going to change anything.
But this is like, sorry for anyone who's a bit squeamish. This is the damage to his left hand.
So that's his remaining hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
But like, this is what these kids are doing. I don't think people understand how serious this is. No one came to help me. Are we shocked?
That is truly the terrifying part of this. I mean, the attack happened is terrifying, but we're used to that now. Like it's so common. But the fact that no one steps in, no one comes and helps.
But I mean, Matt Walsh did have a point. Like 15 years ago, no one was talking about machetes.
Yeah, we didn't have this kind of stuff going on. This kind of street crime directed against the public. To their credit, most of the street crime and most of the gangs, the gang crime that we've had in the past has been directed one gang versus another.
Yeah.
You know, we had the Lebanese versus, the previous sort of gangs. We had the Greeks versus the Italians. We've had various stages of that.
Yeah.
But a lot of that violence, and even now, a lot of the underworld violence, it is directed from one gang against another gang. And they, by and large, don't do it in front of the public. Or even if it's in front of the public, it's not directed at the public. Whereas this is going after members of the public who have nothing to do with anything. For something
these
like
kids,
a phone.
They're not afraid of anything.
Yeah.
So that brings me to
and
the
that's
next...
our mistake. We have caused that fearlessness.
So this brings me to the next, I told you this is a long segment. But now I brought up before, this is Fox News, obviously America, and it is Murdoch run. But, it's making headlines in the US. The US are talking about our machete bins and how embarrassing. Americans have a right to arm themselves. And they're like, Australia can't even have a fucking knife anymore. Although,
and how's that working out for us, by the way?
Can I just say, not to hold a kitchen knife up, but what's the difference?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got a serrated blade on a machete, sorry.
Well, no, most of them don't. Most of them don't, no.
This is going to do the exact same thing.
Well,
are you going to ban these next?
The weight balance is different. So a machete is meant to have a center of mass that's further away from the hand because it is used as a chopping device, whereas that's used as a slicing device. There are some.
Do you want me to try chopping?
Well, there are some moderate differences, but what I was about to say was I don't want to be attacked by a group of youths wielding those any more than I want to be attacked by a group of youths wielding machetes.
Yeah, but also what's the difference? Okay, so it's no longer a machete or a kitchen knife. What's next? It's going to be a screwdriver. Yeah. It's going to be a shiv.
Yeah, you cannot disarm people. If you actually go to the statistics in the US, and you will know the answer because the context of my question will imply what the answer is going to be. But what do you think kills more people in the US? Rifles of all kinds, or fists? Fists kill more people. And that's with their lax gun laws.
Yeah.
Right? The rifles are used in actually a vanishingly small number of crimes. And that's taking into account school shootings.
Yeah.
Right? That's taking into account all of it. Every single rifle death combined, for whatever reason, suicides included, every single rifle death combined is a smaller number than the number of people murdered with bare hands.
Yeah.
Without using any implements whatsoever. Then if you add blunt objects, half bricks, bottles, that sort of stuff, that number goes up massively.
Yeah.
Then if you start to add knives and machetes, that number goes up massively again. And then you add guns. And yes, okay, guns do get used in a lot of murders over there because they're available. But that doesn't mean that more murders are being done because guns are available. It just is because guns are available.
Yeah.
Murderers are choosing to use them.
And this is the point. I'm like, what's the end game here? So, okay, machetes are banned. Great. So they start grabbing kitchen knives. Then what?
But the end game is not to actually fix the problem.
Of course it's not.
This is the thing with politics. They don't get rewarded for fixing problems. They get rewarded for making promises. And if there are no problems, then there's nothing to promise. They love a population that's broke and afraid because they can promise to provide and they can promise to protect.
And you'll keep re-electing them.
And you'll keep re-electing them because of their promises. Oh, we're trying so hard. We've done, look at all of the things that we've done. Sure, but you haven't done any of the things that might have actually worked. Doesn't matter. We've done all of these things. Keep voting for us. Politicians have a vested interest in these problems continuing.
All right, so now more on the kids thing. Teenagers are sharing photos from inside Victoria's youth jails, children's courts and police vans. So these are, like, I've already showed you a bunch of social media images in previous podcasts, but they are documenting it. They are proudly displaying it. Like, that's literally a kid wearing TNs in the back of a divvy van. How is he able to post this? Why isn't the first thing you do take their fucking phone? What the hell is going on?
That is...
I'm not even a cop. That just seems like the first thing I do. Take their fucking phones off them.
Yeah, I mean, they get to have their one phone call, but that's a bit much.
But like, I don't even think I'm asking like the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't it pat them down, take their phones?
If you're under arrest, I would have thought that, I mean, I don't know, but I would have thought that taking the phone would be absolute standard procedure.
Look at this shit. Stupid fat piggy's got me. He's taking a photo of him inside the fucking questioning area. What do you call that?
The interrogation room.
That's the
or the
room.
interview room, I think they call it now. Yeah,
Interrogation's
the
better.
interview room, yes.
So he's taking a photo of that and he's
Yeah.
posting it. Like, they're proud of it. And this is what people don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't care if they get caught.
And
They're
this is-
excited by it.
And this is why we have to have actual consequences, because the consequences of getting caught have to outweigh the street cred. They have to outweigh all of that. And this is why, in my opinion, if they get convicted of an actual, genuine, serious crime, not wayward kid with fast fingers at the corner store kind of crime. I'm talking violent crime, breaking and entering, stealing cars, right? You get found guilty of that, you go back to wherever you came from.
Yeah. Look at this. This is a kid. This is a kid inside like a juvenile detention center.
Yep.
How the fuck does he have Instagram?
Yeah.
And then this one here, Instagram again, took for the gun, took my machete. Like, what is this shit? What is happening?
Yeah.
Am I out of line? I don't understand this.
So you're right to be outraged, but it makes perfect sense when you realize the objective is not to fix the problem.
Yeah.
The objective is to have problems that you can promise to fix.
This is insane. Every time I see this, I'm going to call her that bitch. I don't even care. Every time I see that fucking bitch's face, Jacinta Allen, and her smug, like, look at us trying to do things, it just infuriates me. And I thought this was the article I was looking for. They're basically saying the Attorney General is going to do the strongest bail laws in the country.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that what you promised like months ago?
Yeah, I thought that was already done. Wasn't that
And you ban machetes now.
And you were going to rush them through? Like
Yeah.
you were taking decisive action?
And
Is that what happened to that?
And yet, I mean, we talked about this 2 episodes ago with the kid with the 400 plus charges.
Yeah.
He's already been bailed
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
And no doubt he's already been arrested again.
Yeah.
Like, no doubt. I haven't
it's
seen
it's
proof
only a
of
matter
that.
of time. Only a matter of time.
But
So
yeah.
at this point, like, it's very obvious that the people in power have no regard for law-abiding Australians, law-abiding Victorians in this case, Jacinta Allen. They have no regard for the rule of law. They have no regard for what's actually good. They only have regard for themselves and their careers. And you have to, like, at some point it does go beyond just ideological blindness. And I've talked before about Hanlon's razor, never attribute to malice, that which can also be explained by incompetence. Incompetence, I think, plays a big part of this. Ideology plays a big part of this. But at some point, you do have to go, come on, you're doing this on purpose.
Well, interestingly, I did see this post today. This is from Donald Trump put up something on Truth Social, and it's the same thing. So DC, Washington, DC, it's not a state. Obviously, that's where all their politics is run from.
Yeah, it's their Canberra.
Crime in Washington, D.C. is totally out of control. Local youths and gang members, some only 14, 15 and 16-year-olds, are randomly attacking, mugging, maiming and shooting innocent citizens. At the same time, knowing they will be almost immediately released. Sound familiar? They are not afraid of law enforcement because they know nothing ever happens to them, but it's going to happen now. The law in DC must be changed to prosecute these minors as adults and lock them up for a long time, starting at age 14. The most recent victim was beaten mercilessly by local thugs. Washington, D.C. must be safe, clean and beautiful for all Americans and, importantly, for the world to see. If D.C. doesn't get its act together and quickly, we will have no choice but to take federal control of the city and run this city how it should be run.
So the first thing to note for people who are sitting there going, yeah, but America has gun laws. Don't the victims have guns? Shouldn't that have dealt with the crime problem? Washington, D.C. is the whole District of Columbia is a gun-free zone.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to bring guns in. And so that's why the crooks actually go from Maryland, from Alexandria and other sort of surrounding areas into D.C. Because so long as you're not accidentally attacking a Secret Service agent or something like that, as long as you're definitely attacking just an average Joe, you know that they're disarmed.
Yeah.
Whereas you go into West Virginia, it's not all that far from. I mean, it is a bit of a distance. It's not all that far. You go to West Virginia, The average number of guns per person is more than one. They're not just going to have a gun, they're going to have a backup on them. You don't mess around over there, but you go to DC and do whatever you want.
But again, DC is run by the Democrats.
Yeah.
It's a Democrat city.
Same with all the most violent places, New Orleans, Chicago, Los Angeles, all the biggest, most violent cities are the places that are run by the Democrats, where they have the biggest levels of poverty and welfare dependence and all the rest of all the other issues that we're talking about. This is why you got to get rid of welfare. And secondly, victims are disarmed.
You're going to die when I pull this next one up.
Please don't. I'm only 43.
I can't control it.
Wow, tiger print or leopard print, whatever print that is. If you're listening to this episode of the podcast, you are really missing out. You need to go to YouTube and watch just for the visuals.
And whilst you're there, subscribe.
Yeah, well, yes, indeed.
For those who are listening, I've opened up a Daily Mail article and we have been retargeted in real time. So we've got skims, micro thongs all over the page.
Now, can I make the point here? Boston's glitziest neighborhood. Why do I suddenly have vajazzling in my mind? This is not okay. This is not okay.
Shit. Okay, so...
Read that headline so that people who can't see the picture know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so Boston's glitziest neighborhood now overrun with drug addicts after the Democrat mayor gave addicts free crack pipes. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is because we touched really briefly on Monday's episode about urban blight and also about decay. Now, a lot of what's happening in Victoria is exactly the policies that the Democrats have enforced in places like Portland, Oregon, in Kensington, Oregon, and San Francisco, in parts of, what's the place I'm thinking of? Chicago.
You're thinking of it.
Right?
Yep.
So this is not uncommon. It has already been tried, and we are seeing what's happening from it. So Boston is a very blue area, and everyone there
blue
votes.
Being Democrat, for those who aren't familiar with American politics,
And so they have and you know, some of those places in Boston are amazing. So they're all those brownstones. So for those who can't see on screen, cobbled roads, beautiful brownstones.
It's an old American city. Like it's one of the earliest cities. to have been
late
established.
1800s, like beautiful.
Oh no, late 1700s.
Was it?
Yeah. So 1766 was when they started their war of independence. So
I suppose. I forget Boston's
probably,
that much.
Yeah, it's probably early 1700s.
So there's an area at the intersection of Massachusetts Avenue and Massachusetts. That's a lot. Massachusetts.
Yep.
Got it. All right. Milena Cass Boulevard, where they call it Mass and Cass, and it's notorious for open-air drug usage. Well, congratulations, guys. This is coming to Australia if we let Labor and the Greens have their way, because they want to repeal all our drug laws.
All right, I'm going to disagree with you there. There is a difference between decriminalising and incentivising. America actually incentivises drug dependency, and we do too, actually. The welfare trap disincentivizes you from having purpose and actually having drive and trying to work your way out of poverty. And the amount of support that's there for people who are actually drug addicted and have those sorts of issues mean that the substance itself is addictive and tries to hold you and keep you, but also the lifestyle is very easy to stay in comparison to how hard it is to work your way out of it.
Yeah.
So there's this trap element that comes in. And that's not because of decriminalizing the drugs and no longer prosecuting people criminally for taking drugs. It's because the wider context in which these people are taking drugs is one that traps them in that level of poverty. Let's remember that for most people, drugs and alcohol and so forth are not actually the problem. They're the medicine.
Yeah.
It's the wrong medicine, but they're taking it because there is some other problem.
Yeah.
And poverty or family breakdown or other things like that are usually the problem that they're trying to self-medicate with the drugs. And then the drugs, of course, become its own problem because it gets a hold on them individually. I'm not saying drugs are good or anything like that. But people turn to them largely because they lack vision, they don't have any hope for the future, they don't think that things that have gone wrong in their life can ever be made right, etc. And so when you create a world in which those ideas are prevalent and very hard to break because everywhere you look it seems pretty bleak, you are creating a population that is going to turn to self-medication, and drugs is going to be a part of that. So to me, decriminalising is actually a very good idea because, in my opinion, the war on drugs, the police effort to stamp out drugs, one, has failed, and two, has a number of perverse consequences that we would be much better off doing without. But three, if we actually dealt with a lot of the fundamental societal problems, most of which are caused by government, that are leading to poverty and hardship and everything else, the desire that people have to turn to drugs would dramatically reduce.
Yeah. Well, I'm on the record as saying I don't think we should legalise marijuana.
Sure.
I am against it. And I'm at odds with a lot of people about that.
We disagree, I think, in two key areas, immigration and drug policy.
Yeah.
I think those are our two biggest areas.
Yeah. And look, and I think this is because I'm like, I understand what you're saying in theory, but the practice of it, and I'm not saying that, if you've got like a joint in your pocket, you should be thrown in jail. What I'm saying is I personally don't want to see people smoking a joint in public areas. I just don't want it. I hate the smell of marijuana. I don't think you should be smoking it publicly. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be able to use it for whatever reasons that you want at home. What you do in your own home, I couldn't give a fuck. But I do not think we should get to a point where we're like San Francisco and everyone's just like openly smoking marijuana.
But again, San Francisco is a place where there is enormous amounts of despair. They have all the right social policies.
Well, it's because they've got Gavin Newsom as their governor.
Well, correct. They are a Democrat-run state, a Democrat-run city within a Democrat-run state that has all kinds of welfare programs and all kinds of nonsense going on there. That it helps people to basically lose the will to live. That's why the majority of people, not all, but the majority of people that end up on drugs, it's because they lost the will to live.
Yeah.
And they might have been rich. You get rock stars that we look at and go, wow, that'd be an amazing way to live. No, they've discovered just how empty life actually really is because they've got all the things that you and I look at and go, oh, I'll feel happy when I have that.
Yeah.
Well, what happens if you get all those things and you're still not happy, right? So people turn to drugs to fill a void. And when you create a society that is void, you create drug addicts.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, when we read this article, I'll bring it back up on the screen just in case anyone wants to see it. So the upmarket areas where the median house price is 2.8 million, so it's a very wealthy area.
US dollars.
They are very liberal, so as in left-leaning, progressive.
Yep.
And now that all of this open air drug use and all the ick that comes with that is in front of their homes, they don't like it.
Funny
that.
Yeah.
And so now all of the people, so this is the local mayor, Michelle Wu, and she's a Democrat, and she in 2022 gave out free syringes and crack pipes and other drug paraphernalia to help drug addicts do it safely. Right. So now what you have is the Liberals who are voting for, well, I keep saying Liberals, the Democrats who are voting for the Democrat policies are now seeing the effects of those policies literally on their doorstep.
Yeah.
They don't like it.
Yeah.
That is a good thing. I'm happy for that.
And it's funny how a similar thing happened when southern states began to send busloads of recent illegal arrivals up to Martha's Vineyard and places like that. All of a sudden, that's right. All of a sudden, some of these Democrat cities began to actually care about the problem. And again, I'm pro-immigration, but the incentives are completely wrong. Get the incentives right, the immigration problem fixes itself. That's we've talked about that plenty. But Democrats being confronted by the consequences of their own policies, this is something that we need to do a lot more of in lots of different domains. This is why I'm an advocate for lawfare. If they've passed a law for the purpose of using it against us, we should make a point of figuring out contexts in which to use it against them. Have a dose of your own medicine. See how you like it, because very quickly they realise they don't like it. This is happening to the E-Safety Commissioner right now. Actually, I did an interview yesterday. It's going to come out later today, all going well, otherwise tomorrow, with the Free Speech Union, Dr. Kirkham from the Free Speech Union, who he just beat the E-Safety Commissioner in front of the tribunal because the E-Safety Commissioner, it appears that Julie Inman Grant, this is my opinion, has no idea what she's doing.
Yep.
And she doesn't understand how the law works and what the scope of it is and what her powers really are and are not. So she keeps on tripping over and then losing in front of tribunals and losing in court. She lost when she tried to sue Billboard Chris or tried to, Billboard Chris sued in return and appealed and won. She's lost another major high-profile court case that escapes me just at the minute. She just lost a case against the Free Speech Union. And the tribunal that decided against her called her defense very odd. And because she's tying herself up in knots, just making weird arguments that don't have any basis in law, and as evidenced by the fact that the finding went against her. And so dragging her into court as often as possible and forcing her to have to actually justify her actions, using lawfare against her when she thought she was the one in government position of power and I get to use lawfare against everybody that I don't like. No, we need to use, and this is just about making them confront the consequences of the policies that they advocate. And the more we can do that, the faster they're going to come back to reality.
I have a real issue with Karen anyway. I know she's a residual from the Morrison government, but she's an unelected bureaucrat who seems to have a huge amount of control over what we say and do and how we show up on the internet.
And
how did this happen?
Yeah, well, how did it happen indeed? And so this is another sort of bipartisan thing. The Liberal and the Labor Party got together, and the one thing you know when the Liberal and Labor parties agree with each other is that you're getting screwed even more than normal.
Yeah.
Right? When they team up. So the Karen was given a tremendous amount of power, but appears to have basically given herself permission to do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
And her default position is, I'm going to do something, and if I'm not supposed to do it, you have to stop me, rather than actually respecting the boundaries of her role. So what's been found, just to illustrate this point, the reason why the Free Speech Union and the Karen ended up butting heads, and like I said, I've got an interview coming out on this either later on today or tomorrow on my YouTube. The reason why they ended up butting heads is because the e-safety commissioner called out the Free Speech Union specifically. Mm-hmm. And she did that because the Free Speech Union set up a web page where people could do a Freedom of Information request requesting all the information that the Karen and her department had gathered on them.
Yeah.
And people began making those Freedom of Information requests, which of course she found very irksome because that's time consuming and that's not what I'm supposed to spend my time doing. And because what was uncovered was that she was keeping, in some cases, literally thousands, multiple thousands of pages of information about individuals, particularly individuals that had been saying things that were derogatory about the Karen and her department.
Yeah.
So she was using this department that was meant to be about online safety, dealing with bullying and harassment and people who were breaching intervention orders and things, domestic violence orders, by contacting people online. That was her remit. That's what she's supposed to do. But instead, she's gathering and keeping tabs on her political opponents and people that are calling her out.
Of course she is.
And this got uncovered by the Free Speech Union. And that's why she called out the Free Speech Union. It said some pretty nasty things about them. And then the Free Speech Union went, lawfare, turnabout is fair play, and dragged her into court. They actually had her investigate herself under one of her own anti-online bullying harassment type programs. And she gave herself a clean bill of health, of course. But the thing is, any decision that she makes is appealable.
Yeah.
So the minute she makes a decision, they can then go to the tribunal with it, and now it's no longer her.
Yeah.
Right? It goes into someone else's hands. So they were just waiting for her to make a decision. So she said, I'm not going to investigate this. They went to take her to the tribunal, and she said, but I haven't made a decision, so it's not appealable, so you can't take me to the tribunal.
Right.
And the tribunal has basically slapped her around and said, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
This is a very odd line of argument from you, which in legalese is a pretty strong statement.
Yeah.
And now she's accountable. Now that means that she's not just accountable to the to what she said and the decision that she made about the Free Speech Union. According to the Free Speech Union, there are tens of thousands of cases that she has similarly disregarded and dismissed of Australians coming to her with genuine grievances that she's just shown no interest in, because obviously she's spending all of her time keeping tabs on her political enemies.
And she wants to keep herself in government.
And now every single one of those is now appealable to the tribunal because of what the Free Speech Union just did.
Huh.
So keep an eye on my YouTube channel at Topherfield. That interview is going to come out today or tomorrow. But I think this might be the avenue by which we get the Karen.
Yeah, okay. Well, I noticed that she doesn't do anything about actual bullying.
No, of course
about
not.
Actual things.
That requires actual work.
Yeah, because Tattle Life's still up, so you know. Okay. Next couple of topics. We've got a handful.
All right.
They get a bit dark. Okay, so
let's just not get too deep in them. Let's just blast through them.
All right, first one. You've already done a video on this, Jacinda Allen's work from home plan.
Yeah, this is a tax grab. This is my take on it. This is my conspiratorial take on it. That they're going to tweak the tax rules right now to working from home. So the land tax applies to any commercial property under $50,000, and that includes a portion of your home if it's used for commercial purposes. Right now, the test that applies means that it pretty much only applies to self-employed or people running businesses.
Yeah.
But it would be a very simple tweak to turn that around and say it also applies to people who are employed, they're PAYG employees, if they use more than $50,000 worth of their home as a home office, which, by the way, is just one bedroom.
Yeah, okay.
$50,000. If the median price is $1 million of a 4-bedroom home that's also got maybe 2 lounge rooms and a couple of bathrooms and a double garage, 5% of the floor area, it's 1 bedroom.
Yeah.
Right? So that home office that you set up to go, yes, I can work from home for 2 days per week because Auntie Jacinta told me I can. Now the Victorian Revenue Office is going to come along and say, that's now an accessible land tax.
Guys, if you haven't watched Topher's video on it, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I reckon that's what she's up to. She's desperate.
Yeah, I think so too. But not only that, again, when you go read the comments, people are cheering for this. They are cheering for their own demise. Like, we're already the most taxed state in the country.
People love their chains.
Right? It's why, and like, I'm at the point where I don't even bother writing anything. I just read it and just go, well, fuck.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so, well, we won't go much more into that.
Let's keep moving.
All right, there was something that popped up today, and it might be a bit dark, and this is why I was talking to ChatGPT about pedophilia.
I see.
So I'm going to first show you this story. Now, this is Justice Alan Bolton, 74, who's had a stellar legal career. He's a judge. He was teaching at Monash University, and in between his slides was child porn. And he showed that to his lecture theatre.
Up on the screen?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how brazen these people are. So I'll read you that article.
Right. So he's not just a kiddie fiddling pedo. He's also an idiot.
Yeah. So a former judge accused of inadvertently sharing child abuse content with law students has been sacked from one of Australia's top universities. Former Fair Work Commission Senior Deputy President. Wow, that's a title. Justice Alan Bolton, 74, has been charged over material that was allegedly displayed in the last 15 minutes of a lecture at Monash University's Melbourne CBD campus. The university referred the matter to Victoria Police, which seized multiple electronic devices during a raid on Bolton's inner-city Middle Park home later that week. He has since been charged with 1 count of possessing child abuse material as a Commonwealth offence and 2 counts of possessing child abuse material following a lengthy investigation by detectives. Now, I read somewhere that it was like a terabyte of stuff. I don't know if I read it about him or someone else. So this is him. He's a top legal expert in the country.
He doesn't look 74, at least not from here. It's the screen's a fair way away from me. But yeah, wow. I mean, there's not much to say about that except good. I'm glad he got caught.
So.
But wow.
Yeah, so this actually happened in February. It only just broke the news because obviously it would have been
laying charges and all that stuff. Yeah.
But obviously we talked about that Joshua Brown guy, and there's another one in New South Wales that's come out, same deal.
Yeah.
And then there was also an article that this is the tip of the iceberg. Not to freak out parents, but this is like yeah. So
I would completely believe that.
All right, and I don't really want to talk about pedophilia, but I was like, okay, how prolific is it?
Yeah.
And that's why I was talking to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And I was so shocked with the answer. It's 1 in 3,000 is a pedophile or has...
That we know of.
Yeah, right? And that's what ChatGPT said. It said that it's actually far more prolific than what we realise.
Yeah.
And pedophilia is typically about children under 5.
Yeah.
It's not, 14-year-olds. It's under 5.
So, sorry to make well, I'm not going to make a joke, but there is a joke. There's a comedian who's very funny, and he talks about this, about how he says technically R. Kelly is not a pedophile because there's also ephebophile and other kind of categories. And he finishes the joke, and it gets very awkward, and he delivers it well. He makes it feel very awkward, and he finishes the punchline with, I think the reason why we don't talk about this is because it's very hard to talk about this without sounding like a pedophile.
Yeah.
Which is true. And yes, when we use the word pedophile, we're not talking about someone who's dating a 17-year-old or dating even a 15. We're talking about like
that's
actual
statutory rape,
infant abuse.
Right? Like if you're 20.
I don't know the exact sort of levels and thresholds. It's never been relevant for me.
And so, I was going to bring up the ChatGPT conversation, but like I felt really uncomfortable asking ChatGPT questions because I
am never going to do a story on that for exactly that reason.
Yeah.
And because someone in my position, I mean, the fastest way to destroy somebody is to arrest them and chuck something on their or just say something was on their computer.
Yeah.
Like, how would we ever know?
Well, that was the thing because I was like, I know it sounds horrible, but I was just trying to understand, like, child abuse material. Like, when they say of minors, I was like, what are you talking about? Like an infant's this big. What do you mean? Yeah. Like, sorry, this is so gross, but raping or penetrating a minor. I'm like, I don't understand it. Yeah. I don't understand it anatomically.
And there are people who are trying to normalize this, trying to say, minor attracted person, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And this is where I get grumpy at people who don't like the slippery slope argument. So someone like myself will say, well, if we just say love is love and any two people can love each other, well, why have age limits on it? Why have, there's a whole bunch of limits that we have in place. And the people who are arguing for example, same-sex marriage say, oh, well, that's the slippery slope argument. You can't say, I would never try and legitimize pedophilia.
Yeah.
And that's probably true of that individual. But the people who do want to legitimise pedophilia are waiting in the wings, watching on as the definition of marriage starts to get played with and stops being a concrete thing that we all know what it is, and now we can redefine it. And they're waiting in the wings to jump in and say, oh, well, now we have to talk about minor attracted persons and all that kind of nonsense. So unfortunately, the slippery slope argument does actually apply. And this is a situation now where we've gone so far to saying anyone can do and be anything. I mean, if you're going to say that a child can consent to puberty blockers and life-altering surgery to remove their genitalia, and yet they can't consent to those sorts of interactions, like that to me, that doesn't seem like a coherent position to hold. Now, I don't think they should be able to, just let me clarify my position before we move on. They shouldn't be getting puberty blockers and sex changes and any of that. They're not old enough to understand. Likewise, that's why we say they're not old enough to consent to those sorts of interactions and behaviours. But the people that say one and not the other are actually holding an incoherent position. If you believe in one, sorry, it makes sense that you believe in the other.
Yeah, no, I agree. And which is going to bring me to the next thing. And I was just trying to find the name of, so 6 days ago, an after-school carer was charged with producing child porn, which was making it.
Yeah.
And I feel really dirty talking about this stuff, but I feel like it needs to be talked about because this whole childcare stuff, it's so prolific.
Yeah.
So this is, I just found the article, sorry. So this is David James. He's the childcare worker who allegedly produced abuse material of 10 children in his care.
Yeah.
Now he is 26. Joshua Dale Brown was 25.
Yep.
And a year or so ago, this guy, Ashley Griffith, in Gold Coast. So these are 3 that we know of.
Yeah.
How many more?
There is a very simple way to do this, and this is the perverse side of the equality movement and saying we're not allowed to see differences between the genders, etc. Almost every person, not quite every, but almost every person that sexually abuses children and infants is male.
Yes.
Almost every single one. The fastest way to remove pedophiles out of childcare centres is to say that men can't work there.
Yeah, I would be on board.
Now, the problem with that is that you fall foul of anti-discrimination legislation. And people like myself who said from the very beginning, hey, be careful what you wish for, because actually being discriminating, being able to discern differences is actually a good thing, not a bad thing. And we should be able to have men-only spaces. We should be able to have women-only spaces. We should be able to define what a woman and what a man is. In a moment like this, we could fix the pedophiles in childcare centres problem immediately. Men cannot work there.
Imagine getting in a time capsule and just going back 10 years and having this conversation. Everyone be like, what do you mean? What is a woman?
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't know what a woman is? Do you know what I mean? So that brings me to this next story. And I wanted to hit this like rather delicately because I'm going to ask you a question. This is a confronting question. How old were you when you first heard about or saw porn? Do you remember roughly how old you might have been?
So I can remember a moment. I was outside. There was a mate from, not a mate, actually, I didn't like him, a family that caused trouble up the road. And he was there and he used a piece of chalk or something to scratch the word sex into a brick. And he said, can you read that? And I could read at that age, but there was something about that word that was weird. And I just couldn't make sense of it. And he laughed at me and he said it was the word sex. And then all of a sudden I could see it. It was this really weird moment that I remember quite vividly. And from there, when I would get out little books and little golden books and stuff, there was a golden book. This is going to sound so ridiculously innocent. There was a golden book about a girl going to hospital for a checkup of some sort. And it had a picture of her in her, and this is age appropriate in the sense that I was her age. Okay. So don't at me about anything. She was in a singlet when she was getting checked up by the doctors. And I remember seeing that image in a different light.
Yeah, okay.
After that moment in time.
Yeah.
And I have no memories from before then of that nature. And so I
How old
assumed
do you
that
think
was,
you might be?
oh gosh.
Under 10?
I could have been 8.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember, I have a reason for asking this question.
Yeah.
And you guys in the comments, feel free to join in. I was 10.
Yeah.
But I have a brother who's almost 5 years older than me.
Yeah.
So my brother was almost 15.
Yeah, okay.
And I remember because my brother had, Hustler, Playboy or something.
Yeah.
And I discovered that. And I remember looking at it and knowing it was naughty, but not quite. And, you
not
know,
understanding it,
Yeah, you're kind of looking at it, whatever. And, like, Playboy relatively is fairly innocent. It's just nudes.
Relatively tame.
It's not porn. And then I remember either catching my brother doing it or whatever, but like putting the magazine under his bed. I think that's how I knew it was there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then I had my friend over. And so I was like, oh, my brother's got a magazine. Let's get it. So we ran into his room. Imagine if he watches this. And we lift up the mattress and there was like quite a few magazines under there.
Yeah.
We pull them out. And so there was Playboy, which is the one I saw. And then there was, I don't know what they were called, but like,
other ones.
Yeah, porn magazines. And then that was like actual sex. And I remember going, and I knew the birds and the bees. So I knew, like,
but it's different.
You know, but you don't know.
Yeah,
and the reason I bring that up is, like, I was 10.
Yeah.
Right? And so this is pre-internet. We didn't have Pornhub. And so when I bring up this story, this will all make sense. And then I remember probably around, I got the internet in 1997. I was in grade 5, so it would have been maybe like, 10 or 11 then. And then when we got like actual internet, I found rotten.com, and that's how I sort of, So what I'm saying is that was in the 90s.
Yeah.
I was seeing that stuff when I was 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
So this has popped up. This is an article. Consent campaigner Chanel Contos calls for high school students to learn about the dangers of porn. And she's saying from year 7 up, they should be talked to about pornography.
Which is like 13 years of age?
12.
12, yeah.
I was 12 when I started year 7. So it's around that age. And at first I was outraged. I was like, what the fuck? And then part of me is like, well, no, fuck. That's how old I was.
Yeah, so my first exposure to actual porn was, funnily enough, through an exchange student, and I had no idea what it was. And my brother and I went and got the game Risk out of the top of my brother's room, up in their shelf where all the games belonged. And we had a Japanese exchange student by the name of Kanami staying with us, and we pulled down the game and opened it up, and there were these 2 magazines in the top. And we're like, well, that's weird. And set up the game and started playing. I had no idea what it was. But then a few years later, and then my mum or my dad walked into the room and they're like, where did they come from?
Yeah.
They knew it wasn't us. And it all came out.
Your dad's like,
no. But my first real exposure was actually when I became a paperboy.
Okay.
Because back then there was Picture magazine and People magazine. And
they were always behind the black wrapper.
Yeah, and of course, well, when you work there, you're around the back room where they get thrown out. So the magazines get returned if they haven't been sold.
Yeah.
And they would rip off the front cover and return the front cover and just throw the rest in the recycling. But the front cover would prove that it hadn't been sold. And so you end up with the unwrapped magazines lying around out the back, and the boss was a dirty old so-and-so, and, you know. And so that was my first real exposure to pornography in any sort of sense. And unfortunately now with the internet, it's even harder again. Like, keeping kids away from this stuff is borderline impossible.
And that's what I was going to say. So, like, again, reading the comment threads, I'm seeing a lot of parents going, oh, you know, like, they shouldn't be having access, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't think you guys realize how easy it is. I remember seeing the first, like, pornographic film. I would have been 13.
Yeah, right.
It was at a party, and some kid found their dad's and put it on. It was like 70s porn. And I'm pretty sure it was a Ron Jeremy film. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know who that is. I'm proud to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're innocent, little man. You're innocent. Everyone's gonna be like, "Geez, Carly had a depraved upbringing, didn't she?" But yeah, so this isn't a new problem. Like, the internet didn't invent this problem. This was already there.
And this is also why we can't use fear and outrage of this as a pretext to censor the internet.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, this is a much wider problem than just the internet. And the efforts to censor the internet, of course, are going to destroy much more than just, they're not just going to protect kids. It's going to do a lot more than that.
So, after I'm taking the time to sort of think things through before I just have, I have my gut reaction. I'm like, hang on, let's understand this.
Yeah.
And so Chanel, she was actually one of the ones that campaigned for consent to be nationalised in curriculum, talking about consent. So I can say no to a hug. I don't want you to touch me. And I would say that's a good thing.
It's unfortunately that particular program came wrapped up with a lot of other stuff that I think was quite problematic.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, so that all kind of comes packaged together with a whole bunch of sort of gender-related stuff. And
yes,
all of
of
that.
course. That's
if it was actually just about the fact that you own your body and you don't have to let somebody else touch you if you don't want them to, then that's fine. Absolutely teach that 100%. But unfortunately, they always package these things up as a package
that's
deal.
it's always the you get this, but I get that.
Yeah, that's right.
So she's been saying the average age of first access to porn in Australia is 11 years old, and most of the time it's accessed accidentally because porn sites advertise in chat rooms whilst playing games online.
Yeah.
And I know that there's issues with, is it Minecraft is where a lot of pedophiles hang out? Is it Minecraft?
Any place where there's known to be lots of young people,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And this is the problem with the social media ban. All the young people are going to go running across to some unregulated platform.
You're going to push them straight into it.
You're creating a honeypot.
Yeah, you are. And interestingly, like, did we talk about this on Monday? The social media ban for under 16s doesn't include Pornhub. It doesn't include porn sites.
Well, because they're not considered social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hang on, you can't go onto Snapchat and take silly filter photos of yourself. And I would argue that's not good anyway. But you can go on Pornhub.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Make it make sense.
No, but it doesn't. I can't make it make sense. It doesn't.
Did you know this little tidbit? Pornhub had to delete almost 90% of their content.
Why?
Because most of it was sexual assault, rapes and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
wow.
a huge amount of it was, they couldn't confirm that there was consent.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's Theo Vaughan had the lady who pushed all that on. It was a fascinating podcast.
Yeah, right.
I go down some twisted webs, can I tell you?
Look, I clearly I'm just too busy in all the political stuff and the policies and all of the boring stuff. You do all the fun stuff, by the sound of it.
Well, it's weird because I start thinking about something and then I go there and then I go there and I go. That's why so this happened before we jumped on the podcast, but my computer, I had to like restart it. And I lost all my tabs and I'd spent like bloody 2 hours.
I think your computer looked at what was open and just lost all the will to live.
This bitch is
Just,
cooked.
I'm out of here.
So I literally had to go up to, so normally Chrome, when it crashes, it will just be like restore tabs and it didn't.
Yeah.
So Topher's like, go through your history. And I'm like scrolling through my history. I'm like, I don't want anyone to look at this. This is questionable shit.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, so that's now a discussion. And look, I don't have kids, so I don't have skin in the game, but I don't know. Because I'm talking about, the reason I'm brought up the two is pedophilia is rampant and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about teaching kids about porn from 12 up.
Yeah. And at what point does the teaching program itself become grooming?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like what is that fine line?
You know, and I've got a son and 2 daughters. And so we've moved our son into a separate bedroom. Now he's 9. And obviously, you know, he'll never sleep in the same room as the girls anymore. Obviously, when he was 6, who cares?
Yeah.
But you do, even as a parent, you have to go, okay, unfortunately, things happen. And I need to take all the reasonable, without, you know, treating my son like he's a threat and a danger.
Yeah.
We've talked about all that, the negative side of all of that before. But just take reasonable steps. Be sensible. Be aware.
Yeah.
And I would suggest if your kid is at a childcare centre where they employ males, you know, my daughters go to a childcare centre where only women work there. It so happens. Now, I don't know if that was intentional or whether that's just how it happens to have worked out, but only women work there, and there's a reason why my kids go there.
Yeah. It's yucky. I feel really yucky talking about it. Okay. How do I segue out of this?
Yeah, have fun with that. I ain't going to rescue you.
Okay. Palate cleanse, massive change of pace. We're getting a new airline.
Oh.
Koala Air.
Bankruptcy incoming. Excellent.
Because Tiger Air didn't work, so now we've got
That
Koala
works
Air.
so well. I mean,
does everyone get a dose of chlamydia on the plane?
Yeah, it puts the Mile High Club into a whole different light, doesn't it? I'm all for airlines to compete and all the rest of it, but another airline doesn't fix Australia's competition problem.
Can I just pause for a second? Just looking at this, guys, what the fuck is your logo? I'm available. I am available. Reach out. This is god awful.
It's not great.
I do love that there's a Joey included, but still.
Yeah. It's not great, is it?
It's the same. Here's like a little swoosh.
Yeah.
Guys, get creative.
Adds some movement into the logo. So the competition problem in Australia is not created by a lack of airlines. It is created by the fact that it is basically a government-run protection racket. The government has to approve. There are certain places where, they can operate. But by and large, the government has to approve, particularly if you want to go international. the airline's proposed routes and frequency, and all of that actually has to get government approval.
Yeah.
And then also the airports themselves, which often have relied on an enormous amount of government money, not always, but usually there's a lot of government money wrapped up in airports.
Yeah.
And so they are beholden to the regulators. They then dole out space in their terminals and who gets the better positions and who doesn't. If you're a Melbourneite and you ever flew Tiger, you'd remember that they operated from a physically separate terminal.
Never.
I did.
Flew
I did.
Tiger.
I had extreme experiences, some extremely good, some extremely bad. Very rarely.
They didn't last long, were they? A couple of years?
And so getting space in a terminal is often actually political. It's you have to be given it or have to be allowed to buy it basically by the actual terminal, the airport operators themselves, who are very much beholden to political power brokers and bureaucrats and everyone else. So our airline industry is a protected industry. It is a heavily regulated industry, and competition isn't possible. Even with a new airline, you actually can't compete if you're not actually able to operate and just
read
get out there.
This on their website. It says, I don't know what their game-changing strategy is. They've just used a lot of buzzwords on their website, but they said Koala's strategy will fundamentally differ from the previous entrants in a domestic market, which has long been dominated by two major airlines since the Australian government first introduced the two-airline policy in 1952.
So again, government regulation.
Under this protectionist policy, only two airlines were allowed to operate flights between state capital cities and between capitals and nominated regional centres. It was not until 1990 that the government relaxed this policy to allow competition into the market.
It still hasn't relaxed it nearly enough, but yes.
Well, I would say that's why it's almost $1,000 to fly to Perth.
Well, yeah.
Like, it's just insane. But yeah, they've actually acquired something. It says in 2019, Koala Airlines proudly acquired Desert Air Safaris Pty Ltd, a pioneering company in air tours and charter flights that has been operating for over 50 years over Papua New Guinea and Pacific Islands.
I'm going to have to look into these guys, because if they're actually talking about the regulation issue at the very top of their website, then I kind of like the cut of their jib, so to speak.
Yeah, so it says they're based in Melbourne. But yeah, interestingly, I believe
What do you reckon? First sponsor for the podcast?
Yeah, Koala, and I'll give you a free logo.
Call us.
Throw it in.
Yep.
It says the domestic airline industry is on the cusp of a remarkable transformation. When was the last time you flew a plane?
Oh, I fly a fair bit, just conferences and stuff that I've got to go to.
Was it like the last year?
I've done multiple in the last year.
I have noticed. I actually, touch wood, I'm jinxing myself. I have been flying since we went to ARC because we flew Qantas. I was a loyal Virgin customer because that's where all my points were.
Yeah.
And then I got all those points from London.
Yeah.
So I started moving across and I was like, oh, fuck, I have to fly Jetstar. But touch wood, I actually haven't had any problem.
Yeah.
Qantas, on the other hand.
Yeah,
Qantas
right.
is shit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I find Jetstar to be pretty good. I really can't complain.
I used to be a snob and was like Virgin only.
For the absolute friendliest, the absolute hands down friendliest air hostesses and hosts you will ever see, in my opinion, are on Rex, the Regional
I've never actually
Express.
flown a Rex flight.
Unfortunately, I no longer fly Rex because their planes are small and they're older, which is how they're able to operate and offer the fares that they do to the destinations that they do. But as a result, they've got luggage restrictions that are much tighter and overhead baggage compartments that are much smaller, so your bags are smaller. And for me, where I'll go to a conference, I don't get paid to speak. I've got to bring books with me to try and sell. Those luggage restrictions translate into well, now I've lost, instead of losing $1,000 spending my 4 days going to and from that weekend, now I've lost $1,500 because I couldn't bring $500 worth of books with me to sell.
Yeah, that makes sense. I had never lost luggage or had any issues. Fucking touch wood. I'm jinxing myself. I've actually never had a bag lost. But on the way back from London, I went Tromsø. This was the flight from hell. Tromsø to Oslo, Oslo to London, London to Perth, Perth to Melbourne. Yes, I was ready to kill myself. But my bag, once it got to, because it was fine in Norway and it was fine in London, but Qantas snapped the wheels off.
Oh. And
snapped them clean off so that literally the bottom of the suitcase was exposed.
Yeah, so it's been thrown.
Yeah.
That suitcase has been... Thump.
And it was like a $500 suitcase.
Yeah.
It was not a cheap one.
Yeah.
And I hadn't had it very long. And when I got it, I was just like, what? Like, I literally couldn't wheel it. I had to get a trolley and whatever. And so and then I actually got pinged for border control, whatever it is.
Like immigration, customs. Yeah.
And they just picked me. They're like, oh, yeah, we're going to check your suitcase. I was like, yeah, no worries. And I pulled it up. I'm like, I'm so sorry. It's got no wheels. And she's like, oh, God. And she's like, okay, call this number. Qantas has to pay for a new one.
Yeah, right.
I was like, oh, shit, thank you. I did not know that.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you poor bugger. Anyway, off I go. And so I call up Qantas or whatever, and they're like, oh, you get to choose. Here's the ones that you can choose from. So obviously this happens a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, hang on a minute. I had like one of those bigger, it was American Tourister. So, and it had a matching little wheelie one. And I bought that big one for a reason. It was the lightest possible suitcase you could buy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it was $500. And it was, there's nothing inside it. It's just a square.
Just a big cavernous thing. Yep.
And dual wheel.
And is it a hard outside
Yes.
shell? So mine wasn't American Tourister. It was some other brand. But I know exactly what you've done because I did exactly the same thing.
Yeah. And like I travel a lot. So I was like, I'm happy to pay $500 because I think it only weighed maybe 2 kilos. It was tiny.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Qantas were like, oh, you can choose this. And I went on there. I was like, these suitcases are all about 4 or 5 kilos.
Yeah.
No. And it's also like 30 litres under what I had. I want my size.
Yeah.
And so I jump onto American Tourister. I'm like, this is what I had. I want this or an equivalent. And they're like, no. And then so I typed in the brands that they give you. And the bag of the biggest bag that I could get from Qantas was only a $200 suitcase.
Yeah,
like that was it.
Yeah.
And I was just livid because I just bought that. And Qantas like,
Yeah.
meh.
No. So I can't remember the brand, but I bought a really nice hard shell suitcase for exactly that reason. 4 wheels, so it can take a bit more weight. It's not one of the ones you have to lean in order to wheel.
And also it's not hard on your wrist. People don't realise the ones that you have to drag, you're holding all that weight in your arm.
And when you travel internationally, you can have 30 kilos.
Yeah.
And so I bought this before I went and did a documentary in the US and Canada. And so I could literally have tripods, light stands, lights, all kinds of hardware in there, pushing right up against that 30 kilogram limit. And the thing was physically big enough and robust enough to take that kind of treatment. Unfortunately, I used it for that trip and I used it for a few more, and then I lent it to a producer friend of mine who used it in that same capacity over and over again. That poor thing did thousands upon thousands of miles. Yeah. And eventually it died. Of course it did 11, 12 years later. But yeah, the value of a good piece of luggage, and I can, like, if that had been broken after one trip, I'd be pretty pissed.
Like, I'm happy to pay a little bit more for my airfare to know that my luggage isn't getting broken. And I will never, ever put my laptop or my cameras underneath. There's I don't care. And, like, I know with a lot of, like, for example, Jetstar, they weigh your carry-on.
Yeah.
So I have a little trick.
Yeah.
So
lenses in your pockets?
Lens, everything that weighs anything. I have a couple of puffer jackets that have internal out. I look very fat.
Staggering through the gate.
I look very fat and my shoulders look a bit, drooped. But I'm like, I'm not. It's not because I want to be an asshole and put it on the plane. I don't trust you guys.
Yeah, correct.
That's my livelihood.
And so I like the Sonys, as you know, and they do these wonderful G Master lenses. And I wanted to collect a whole set of G Master primes, but then I started to think about just the reality of traveling with that. Yeah. And the fact that, like you, I'm not putting that under the plane.
Fuck no.
But also, each of these lenses is a kilo.
Yeah.
If I've got 5 lenses, which is a full set of good quality prime lenses, that's 5 kilos out of my 7 kilos gone. Then I put the camera body in there and a couple of batteries. That's it. I'm carrying nothing else on the plane with me.
Well, that's usually why I flew Virgin, because I don't weigh your carry-on. And I've got a Pelican case. And so I can put everything of value in the Pelican case, bar my clothes and stuff. And it's obviously overweight, but it fits in the overhead.
Yeah.
And then one day, the Virgin cabin guy came along. He's like, oh, I'll pop that up for you. And I was like, no, I got it. He's like, that's a bit heavier than 14 kilos. I was like, no, it's not. He's like... But can we be a camera geek for a second?
Okay, sure.
Because I was like really excited. You started talking about lenses.
Yeah.
So, as you know, I got robbed at the start of the year. I got 2 lenses stolen. They were EF lenses. So for those who don't know what I'm talking about, Canon, it's a pain in the ass, but every time a camera company brings out a new model, so we went from DSLR, which is the mirrored cameras, to a mirrorless. They changed the front mechanism that the lens
mount.
locks on.
Yeah.
And so if you had...
Not every company does that, by the way. Sony didn't do that.
Sony didn't,
No.
but they do not let third parties make lenses for a while, and Canon do the same thing.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, and so I do have EF lenses, which is an older lens, but they're still basically
The
amazing.
EF refers to the mount.
Yes, that's the mount. But they're still beautiful lenses. They're still a professional glass. But 2 of them got stolen, and I'm now in this weird... this is like first world problems, I know. I have my old mirrored camera, my DSLR.
Yeah.
But I very rarely use it because it is an older camera and it's less reliable. So if it fucks up, I'll be like, so I have my current one. Now, all of my lenses fit the old camera, but I bought a, what do you call it? An adapter, thank you. And the issue being 2 of my most favorite lenses were stolen. To buy the EFs, I could do that, sure. I could go on Facebook Marketplace, which was what I was going to do. That's cost me about $1,500, $2,000 per lens secondhand. Or do I accept that I now need to go onto the RF, which is the new mount, and do I just buy new
collecting
lenses?
those lenses? And of course, you could sell your old lenses, but then there's a lot of photographers who are upgrading to the RF mount, and they're all selling the same lenses.
Yes, which is why, and I always advocate for just buy secondhand. And I'm normally there, but now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, shit. And also, so now this whole travel thing, because I'm traveling a lot, I'm like, I actually can't take 5, 6 lenses with me. I just cannot.
You can't take 2 camera bodies with lenses for each.
No.
Yeah.
So I have stumbled, well, it's not brand new, but Canon brought this out, I think, last year. And help! I want it.
24 to 105 f, 2.8 through the whole range. That's nice.
Yeah. So, and what's not nice is that price tag.
Yeah, but for like that's a
how practical.
So 24 to 70 is a typical kind of range, and that'll set you back $2,500 for an f2.8 24 to 70
for Canon.
Oh well, really? Yeah. Okay. So honestly, for the extra reach of going out to 105, because you 70.
Because most people usually have either the 24 to 70 and the 70 to 200. That's kind of like the go-to zoom lenses.
Yep. And honestly, the 200, like you've got to be doing some decent distance work. Like you're not photographing people at 200.
Well, you're normally doing it for the compression, so it looks really nice. It looks really flattering.
Yeah, lovely. It gives you a beautiful, beautiful photo. But a 24 to 105, that is the kind of lens that you could travel with just that lens.
Well, that's what I was thinking because so what got stolen was my 15 to 35, and that was a 2.8.
Yeah.
And my beautiful 50 mil, but it was an L series, so it wasn't a cheap 50 mil. It was like a good one. And I didn't use the 50 all that often these days, but every time I wanted I want that photo, it was always the 50, and it's gone. So I'm like, to replace both of those would probably cost me about $3.5, even if I buy it secondhand.
Yeah.
And then this guy.
Or do you just do this?
And that solves a lot of problems.
Look, well, your L series 50 though, that would have been gone down to what, 1.8, 1.4?
Yeah, 1.2.
1.2, yeah.
Not that I ever shot at 1.2.
Yeah, no.
But yeah.
I mean, so the G Master lenses that I got, one of them it was an 85mm that went down to 1.2, and you just.
You'd be lucky if you get it like an eyelash in focus.
It would literally. If you were lucky, the eyeball was in focus, which the Sony's pretty good. It does do a good job of focusing on the right thing. But then the tip of the eyelash is out of focus.
Yeah.
And the skin, just the back of the crow's feet here is out of focus. Like it's stupidly narrow depth of field.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty good, but like when you're shooting on the fly, is this boring, you guys? This is like photography chat.
Yeah.
They say that a lot of the prime lenses can be quite slow, like the 50 can be. The 85 is pretty good. And what that means is that as you're clicking the shutter, the camera's taking too long to focus.
Yeah, to get the focus,
and a 2.8 is typically what I shoot for commercial. I actually shoot at around 5.6 now.
And if you've got a bit of depth to work with, then that's great. It's only if you're like, if I was getting a 100mm macro, then you want the super shallow depth of field. Or if you do a lot of work in confined spaces where you want the depth of field effect, well, then you need something super fast.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, I need the podcast to do well because I don't have almost $4,500 to throw at that.
Yeah.
But and the problem is with the RF, for those who are going to say go buy the second hand, there's not a lot of them because they are very new.
Yeah, it's a relatively new release.
There won't be any of these.
And this wouldn't even be a conversation if it weren't for the fact that the lenses that you were using were stolen.
And this is the thing that pisses me off. So now on my insurance, I was saying this to G last night. My house insurance has gone up, and I only got that after getting robbed the second time because I was like, I cannot survive a third time.
Yeah.
It's $170 a month,
Yeah.
and I could only itemize the most common things because problem with a lot of high value items that if you don't itemize them, the max they'll pay out is $1,000.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So for example, in my kit, every single thing is over $2,000.
Yeah.
So I rang the insurance company. I was like, well, what can I do? And they were like, what's the most common thing that you leave the house with? And I was like, 24 to 70, my actual R5 and probably my MacBook. And they're like, put those 3 things as itemized and then maybe take a hit if something else got done. I asked to put my phone on there, and that was going to make the policy go up by $50 a month if I put my phone on it, because it
such a high risk item.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So $165 or $170, whatever it is, I pay a month to just hopefully not have something break. It's just insane.
So insurance is such a weird game. My first real exposure to it was...
I'm convinced it's a Ponzi scheme.
Well, I mean, it kind of is. It's socializing risk in a private capacity, which I've got no issue with if you want to do that. But we know that over the long run, insurance companies hand back less than what they get. That's why they turn a profit, okay? And they can cover all their overheads and turn a profit because in the end, they hand out less than what they receive in premiums. That's the price we pay in order to have the peace of mind because we can't afford the hit if it happens to be us that cops it, right? Okay, fine. But when I went to get a motorbike insured, and I was quite young, and it was a decent motorbike, so unsurprisingly, the insurance on the motorbike, I can't remember the exact figures now, but I remember working it out. I was paying 1/3 of the value of the motorbike per year in insurance.
That's insane.
Well, when you essentially what the insurance company is saying when they offer you that insurance is that you're going to write that bike off every 4th year. Right.
Yeah.
Which actually, statistically, for young riders on high-performance bikes, that's not actually a completely outrageous position for the insurance company. But it's just so weird because what you're basically doing by handing over your money for the insurance is you're basically saying, I bet you I'm going to crash my bike sometime in the next 3 years and write it off. And the insurance company is like, we bet it's going to take you at least 4 years to write that bike off. It's this really weird...
Yeah.
Right? And that's why insurance fraud becomes an issue because actually once you've got the insurance, there's a financial incentive for people, and some people take that incentive, write that thing off, get the insurance payout, because literally I'm betting that I'm going to crash and the insurance company's betting that I won't.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing. Like I got the insurance after getting robbed, and now I'm like... fuck. Like
now you feel like you're getting robbed again.
Yeah. So I'm paying, I just added up, I'm paying just over $2,000 per annum to maybe get it back if I get robbed again. Yeah. Please don't rob me again.
So my policy with insurance is to always be insured for the value of the other people's stuff. So, don't drive a car if you don't have third party. Like if you're not covered for the other person's stuff.
Don't you legally have to have third party?
No, that's third party personal. So that's for their injuries.
Okay.
If you smash into a Porsche, you're not covered for the cost of fixing that thing. So never leave the house without the coverage of the other people's stuff. But I calibrate my insurances in terms of whether I get the insurance, but then also the excess and the value and all of that is calibrated to basically make it so that it's a hit I can take.
Yeah.
Right.
Mine's agreed value. Yeah. So I pay a little bit more because I was like, no, if you pay me out whatever you think the market rate is, I can't get something that I need.
Yeah. Yeah. But for me, it's a case of, okay, can I afford to write off the car? No, I can't. All right. Well, if I took a hit, how much of a hit can I take? Well, I can take a couple of $1,000 hit. All right. Well, I'll calibrate my insurance accordingly because if I calibrate my insurance to cover everything, I want the hire car and I want the this and I want the hotel if I'm away from home and I want all of the add it all on for me. Well, I can afford a hire car. I can afford a hotel for a night or two. I can, but now that's being added onto my insurance. And we know that in the end, I'm going to lose that bet because the insurance companies make money out of all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I minimize my insurance, but don't leave home without third party.
Well, unfortunately, I've had 2 car accidents in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
I ran up the back and then I had that one last year. And so I've used my insurance a bit. So I'm like, car insurance does pay for itself.
Yeah.
So I'm all on board with car insurance. I really hate paying for this stuff though.
Yeah.
I cancelled my health insurance.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Just couldn't justify
Well,
it.
no, because every time I went to the dentist or whatever, health insurance gave me back a negligible amount. So for example, I need a root canal and a root canal is about $1,800. By the time, so this is where I got caught out. So I'd had Medibank. This is a long story. We better end because it's been 3 hours. I was with Medibank for almost fucking 12 years, a long time since I had my jaw surgery.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened and I think I've told this story. I came back from Bali and I had typhoid and I went to the private hospital and they're like, sorry, you're not covered for gastrointestinal issues.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah. I have private health insurance.
And I've had it for a long time.
Yeah.
And then from that day, I was like, fuck you, Medibank, sorry. So I cancelled it. And because I'd had it so long, I wasn't getting the tax because I'd had so much time. Anyway, I'm sure that's lapsed now.
Yeah.
And then that time was coming up. I was like, oh, shit, I better get it. So I got Bupa. And I was like, oh, fuck, what do I do? So I was like, low extras because I couldn't give a shit about extras, but make sure I'm covered for
Typhoid.
General dental typhoid, you know, lots of stuff. Anyway, so when I signed on to it, I made sure I was covered for dental blah, 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 blah. But of course, it's 12 months for the root canal, right? So the root canal pops up 6 or 7 months into it. And I'm like, I'm not covered, am I? So I was like, I'll push it out. I'll push it out. And so something happened. I can't remember what happened, but I upgraded my policy, which reset
the 12 months.
All my annual limits. So I waited the 12 months, and by this point I'm like, ow, I need this root canal. I go there, and they're like, you're not covered. I was like, no, I'm definitely covered. Anyway, rang Bupa. They're like, no, because when you upgraded, when you started paying us more money, we reset your annual limits. And I was like, that makes no sense. I didn't downgrade. I'm paying you more. And they're like, that's the way it works. And I was like, fuck you guys. And they're like, oh, well, you know, if you extend the term out for the next 6 months, then you can do it. I was like, so I need to pay you an insurance premium, an extra $700 before I then qualify for my $1,800 root canal. This makes no sense.
Yeah.
Done. I'm out.
Yeah.
And I refuse.
Insurance, you should not insure anything that you can afford to take the hit on.
Yeah.
You should only insure things that are too big.
Where were you when I was going through that process?
I was where I was. You never called.
Yeah, I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, health insurance is a scam.
On that happy note, it's been, is this a record? 3 hours, 17 minutes?
No.
I reckon it's got to be.
But we're getting close.
Come on, it's got to be.
I know it's getting the end because I really need to go to the toilet. But do you want to talk about this really quickly? I know you want to talk about this.
What is
there
it?
You go. This shit. We promised Roy.
We promised Roy.
I did listen.
Roy, yes. We're going to squeeze this in right at the end. I actually haven't seen the footage of this. And to me, this is kind of... We're going to get a copyright strike.
Oh, shit. Stop.
Yeah.
Hang
so
on. Music off.
This is really, really creepy rendition of Jesus Christ Superstar. Now, Jesus Christ Superstar is a blasphemous production in the first place. And, you know, blasphemy against Jesus Christ appears to be completely acceptable, has been for quite some time.
Try do Muhammad next.
Yeah, well, exactly, you know. And this is kind of the double standard here is, you know, if you or I said something derogatory about Muhammad, the outrage mob would come for us. But if we suggested that this was inappropriate, that we shouldn't have something like Jesus Christ Superstar, well, now you're being an intolerant bigot.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising then to discover that the sorts of people that participate in something like a production of Jesus Christ Superstar, she came out in this really creepy outfit. This is not even the worst of it. Just this insanely creepy outfit. She was dressed all in black and just really, really bizarre. I mean, a very, I hesitate to use the word, yes, Gollum, exactly. It was a very demonic vibe.
She's very underweight too. That whole Wicked tour thing when she did with Ariana Grande, they both got very thin. I don't know what came out of that, but
probably all the coke they were doing backstage.
Yeah.
No, pure. That's a joke. That's not. I'm not. Please don't sue me.
Allegedly.
So the double standard here is. I mean, it's well known. We saw the Piss Christ. You remember that?
I've got it. I've gone to the trouble of pulling it up.
Thank you. You know, so this is a Catholic crucifix. So the Catholics illustrate their cross has Christ on it, placed into, I think it was a glass or a bottle filled with human piss. Yeah. And this was displayed as artwork. It was celebrated as this confronting art piece. Blah blah blah.
The fact you brought this up and I didn't. All
the wank that goes with it. And to be honest, I don't have a problem with this in the sense that sinful people are going to do sinful things.
Yeah.
Right. This is a part of the culture that we're in. I've accepted that. That is just unfortunately par for the course. But the double standard and the fact that this is completely fine. This musical can tour the world stage and can be celebrated and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
With people who are really, I mean, it really feels like she was just deliberately trying to come across in this really deranged, demonic kind of a way. In this,
she's leaning into it. But if you've ever I'll show you, because when I was Googling her, what's her name? Cynthia, there she is. When I was Googling her, when you think of someone who's just so into themselves,
right?
Her face is the first thing I see, like this kind of face on her, like,
yeah, right.
I'm a thespian.
Yeah.
I'm so important.
Yeah.
Now, like this face, like peasant below me, like. Everything about, and you know, she's super woke and all that sort of stuff.
She ticks all the right boxes, yeah.
Nothing, but this is her before. Gorgeous woman.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. Well,
What happened? You drank your own Kool-Aid.
Look at Sam Smith. Look at a lot of these guys. Like there does appear to be. I mean, these people who banged on for ages about how Hollywood is a satanic cult. Blah blah blah. Well, they're becoming more and more credible by the day.
So I don't know when this was, but she's beautiful there. She's got some meat on her bones now.
Yeah.
She's like...
She's emaciated.
She's emaciated.
Yeah.
I think that's her vibe. It's always a septum piercing.
Yeah.
Hollywood, they call it Hollyweird for a reason.
Yeah.
People talk about her fingers all the time because she wears really long nails.
Really long nails.
It's not demonic. It's just that's her nails.
I mean, she. But it just the desire to...
Holy shit. That's her before.
Is it?
Yeah, it says before and after. Yeah.
If that is her, then that is unrecognizable. I would never pick that as the same person.
Guys, this is what woke is. Yeah. Stunning.
Wow.
I don't know if they're stunning. I don't know if that's fucking advertising.
Sorry, are they saying that the after is stunning?
Stunning and brave?
Gosh.
Why? Fuck off.
Yeah. Okay. Look, we need to end the show. My bladder is full.
Yeah.
And I look, honestly, if we're okay with doing this on the topic of Jesus Christ, then let's see what happens when someone does this on the topic of Muhammad. Yeah.
On that note, we got to go.
Yeah. Before someone puts a fatwa out on us.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, help us be grifters, and also keep an eye out for my interview with Mr. Kirkham from the Free Speech Union about his latest run-in with the E-Karen. That'll be on my YouTube channel today or tomorrow.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Bye.